Have you guys ever heard of SCP-096?
No.
That's probably for the best. He is better known as a Shy Guy, one of the strongest, most powerful SCPs. And today, we're going to be learning about his sad origin story.
Hello everyone, Dr. Bob here. I know you're not used to seeing me here at the start of videos.
Is that him?
But that's because today
No, that's
we have
Dr.
an
Bob.
extremely pressing matter to attend to. One that cuts to the deepest core of one of the SCP Foundation's deadliest contained anomalies. SCP-096, the Shy Guy.
No.
It's a creature that needs no introduction, because it probably haunts all of your nightmares already. Close your eyes and
does.
picture it in your mind's eye.
Okay, guys, tell me what you're picturing. What are you picturing for SCP-096?
I see.
Get away.
I see Adam.
Get away.
Is he clothed or naked?
I see Adam running, and he's running from someone who looks beautiful.
Okay. What is going on?
Is it
And
me?
it's
is not
your mom.
scary.
It's your mom, guys. Shy Guy is your mom. What a plot twist.
Gaunt face with the slack jaw and the lifeless white eyes. The face you hope never to see as long as you live. The pale skin pulled tight against
Oh
bone.
my gosh.
Those impossibly long, gangly limbs. It sits there in its airtight containment cube, covering its face and quietly sobbing. Always sobbing, as though cursing something beyond.
I thought that was Alec making the crying sound. I don't know why.
Why does he choose to be in a corner? Why can't he just cry anywhere else?
Adam,
Were you guys
he's-
ever-
He's shy.
Were you guys ever shy in like elementary school and like didn't talk to anybody? Because I used to be like that. I was pretty shy growing up, and like so it's relatable. Like I'm kind of relatable to like the Shy Guy.
Doesn't the Shy Guy murder a lot of people?
Well, only if they look at him.
Okay, so nobody looks at him then. He's camped in a corner.
Technically, you're looking at him right now.
I'm not
So an
looking at his.
understanding. Perhaps
though.
when thinking about SCP-096,
I'm looking
you
at
feel a
something
pang
else.
of sympathy mixed with the terror. After all, this anomaly is no sadist. Why would a sadist cry as it kills, like SCP-096 does? You're not alone in asking
Are you
this
laughing
question.
at him?
I've spent many a night poring over classified files with an ever-freshening pot of coffee, trying to piece together the answers. SCP-096 is considered one of the most dangerous Euclid-class creatures in containment, and yet,
Do you guys know what Euclid?
I was about to say it. Me no understand big word.
Okay, so there's 3 different classes in SCP. There's Safe, there's Euclid, and then there's Keter class. So Safe is green. Safe means that it's good, it's not gonna hurt you. Euclid is kind of like Minecraft spiders. They're neutral, so as long as you don't touch it, it won't touch you.
Okay.
And then
Shy
Keter
Guy's not even
class,
that bad.
you don't even want to know about Keter class.
Okay, so Shy Guy, he's not even evil. He's just like a nice guy that doesn't want to hang out with anybody.
As long as you stay away from him, he's not evil.
so little about it is known, beyond its capability to do great harm whenever someone is unlucky enough to see its face and send it into its rage state. How did this happen? It's a question for the curious, like you or me, and after months of strenuous research, I believe I may have an answer. Whether you choose to believe it is up to you. Just be warned
believe it? Is this
when you
real?
hear what I believe to be the
do.
heart.
Wait, this is like a real thing? This is actually making me
No,
feel like
no.
that SCPs are
Jack,
real. I
it's
always
not
thought
real.
SCPs
Jack,
were
it's not
fake.
real.
Okay, guys, we don't know for sure. Do you remember creepypastas when you were like 13 years old?
Yeah.
Like Slender
Usually
Man,
my mom just gave me spaghetti.
Entity 303.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Back in the day, I wasn't sure if they were real or not. So maybe they are real, maybe they're not.
Well, this guy's really convincing me that it's real.
That's
He
not
could
real.
be,
That is
Alec.
not real. Please, somebody say in the comments it's not real. Please.
We've only explored like 5% of the ocean, so it could be down in the ocean.
Good
you
point.
never know. Could be an
Heartbreaking,
alien.
tragic origin of this terrifying and pitiful monster. You may never be able to look at him the same way again. Not that looking at him should ever be high on your list of priorities. It begins in a tavern in a small Nepalese village, a few miles away from the Chinese border, where Mount Everest, the world's tallest mountain above sea level, waits. Its mere existence is like a challenge to the brave and foolhardy. Conquer me, it seems to whisper. Conquer me, and declare yourself above
Mount
Why
Everest
is it
is
whispering
those I
that to
have
people?
conquered. Become a god
Conquer
among
me.
men. It's always whispering like this, but few, in the
Stop,
grand scheme
Mount
of
Everest.
things, can actually hear it. And sadly for him,
No, Mount
the
Everest, no,
explorer
I won't.
is among those
Okay,
few.
I'll do it.
Fine.
He's sitting in one of the tavern's many cozy.
Wait, come on. Alec, can you act like you're eating something?
That looks like me.
If you shaved,
Alec, come on.
For real?
if you shaved and parted your hair,
That guy
I
does
mean,
not look like me.
That looks like you from 2017.
I have red hair. I have red hair.
Are we seeing
Oh
the
my
origin
God.
story of Shy Guy? You always said you were shy as a kid. Oh my
some people
God,
do
dude.
say Alec is a pretty shy guy. Okay, everybody's clicking off this video. Please don't leave the video, guys. Please don't leave the video.
Okay,
he's
no
gonna put
wonder
his
he
hat
didn't
back
have.
on.
All I'm gonna say is no wonder he didn't have any friends in elementary school.
He's gonna put his hat back on in 3,
I am scared.
2, 1. Okay, we're safe. Whew.
May at a plate of mutton
Wow.
curry while sipping from a brass bowl of white chiang, a popular local drink. The explorer, living up to his name, has come a long way to get here. The rest of the village locals in the tavern eye him with a variety of knowing glances. They've seen so many like him before. Smug smiles and
There
puffed
he is.
chests,
There's Alex.
thinking they'll be
Hey,
able to count
the French
themselves
man.
among the exalted few who've conquered the mountain to end all mountains.
I'll climb Mount
The
Everest with you
bodies
guys.
of many men like this
Oh,
are
never
still
mind.
frozen to the mountain's surface.
What the?
don't
Of
know.
course
One
my guy
An
dies.
older man
What?
I said, of course my guy dies.
Well, yeah.
My fellow ginger man.
Yeah, that's why there's not many of them left. They probably all try to climb Mount Everest.
They're trying to conquer Mount Everest
Yeah.
and just die.
Probably.
who can speak English fluently
Not a bad way to
slides in
go.
across the table from the explorer. The old-timer tells him that whatever he thinks he'll find up on the mountain, honor, glory, recognition, he'd be
Alex,
better
you're
off
mine.
searching for it elsewhere. Death awaits on the icy rocks above. The explorer, young, fit, and still feeling mighty smug, replies that death is there for the people who haven't worked hard enough, who haven't prepared. He's scaled other mountains before, all across the globe, from Scotland to Peru. Everest would hold no surprises for him, just a
Okay, I don't understand how this relates to Shy Guy at all, Jack. What is going on?
Adam, you gotta just wait, okay? The story's
Okay,
building.
all right.
And okay, I have a theory. Either A, this guy becomes Shy Guy, or B, Shy Guy is waiting at the top of Mount Everest and he dies to him.
I thought, like, since so many people die at Mount Everest, Shy Guy's just waiting up there.
It very well could be, Adam. Shy Guy can survive pretty much any environment, at least that I know of.
The thing is, it's definitely option A because this is the origin story of Shy Guy. So it's like the beginning of Shy Guy.
Maybe that's Shy Guy and he tries to climb it and then he gets stuck.
Exactly. The problem
Exactly.
is, though, that this guy's not shy at all. Like, he doesn't have any similarities with Shy Guy. So how does he end up turning into Shy Guy?
Maybe he loses all of his clothes and he gets really skinny, and then that's when he becomes shy because he doesn't want people to look at him because he's self-conscious.
And he loses his hair.
new, compelling
I wouldn't
challenge.
want people looking at me if I lost my
The
hair.
old man is,
You kinda
as you
just,
could
like,
probably
defied my
imagine,
life, bro.
unamused by the explorer's hubris. All confidence and bluster now, he says with his thin, raspy voice. But what will you say when you're face to face with the king? The explorer,
The king?
assuming that this king refers to the mountain itself, smiles and replies,
What?
I'll ask him for his crown.
Shy Guy the king?
With that, the old man
Interesting.
leaves, content that he
He's
at least
shy.
tried to dissuade the explorer from going on this doomed journey. If nothing else, his conscience would be clear now. He had done all that he possibly could. The explorer, not bothered by the grim prophecies of superstitious locals, finishes his curry and chung and retires to the room he rented upstairs. He's so excited. Tomorrow,
so
it will
happy?
finally be time. All his months of training will pay off.
'Cause
He
he's
will
the conqueror
climb
of
to
Mount
Mount
Everest.
Everest's peak. It would be an achievement to last a whole lifetime.
I'd be nervous.
One he would never ever forget, no matter how much he wants to. The next day, the
Whoa.
tip of his ice axe cleaves into the mountainside.
we go!
As he grunts, strains, and
Come
pulls
on!
himself up another few feet. He's about 2,000
Dude, he's doing it
meters
all
up,
by himself.
and every
You got
additional
this!
meter is
2,000
fighting him.
meters, bro? Oh
It's
my
the
god.
bitterest cold he's ever known.
That is
a freeze
crazy.
so deep it makes his incredibly expensive thermal locking clothes feel like he's wearing wet one-ply toilet paper. But the pain
Ugh, I
doesn't
hate
matter.
that.
The cold doesn't matter. He finds it exhilarating.
He's still happy.
Of course,
That's crazy.
just as the old man had warned, death could be waiting for him on this mountain. But the truth is, the explorer has never felt more alive. He winches himself up a few feet more, trying to regulate his breathing as his icy fingers, wrapped in thick
This is
gloves,
definitely not
struggle
Shy
to find
Guy.
purchase on what feels
I don't
like a
think
sheer
so, Adam.
cliff face.
I think it was option
There
B.
are many times when he's supporting his full body weight with only his hands. It often takes the kind of Herculean strength that only a lifetime of training can give you.
I think I could
After
do it.
all, there's no room for error on Mount Everest. One wrong move, and you're either plummeting to your death or becoming a permanent frozen fixture of the mountainside. And because Everest is so dangerous, nobody comes to collect the bodies of dead mountaineering hopefuls. Their corpses,
that is
coated in
true.
often colorful winter jackets, litter the mountain. Some look at them
Yeah,
as a
that's real.
tragic warning. Other, more morbid mountaineers use them as mile markers for their own more successful ascents. Whether the explorer would be lucky or become just another dead, frozen mile marker is still entirely up to chance.
That's really creepy.
Whoever goes up this mountain by themselves, that's probably like not known ever.
Usually you're supposed to go up with like some sort of tour guide that has done it hundreds, if not thousands of times, and you go up with a giant group of people that know what they're doing. But this guy's crazy. He's doing it all by himself.
If this video gets 45,000 likes, I will go up Mount Everest by myself.
And I'll shake your hand and watch you go, Adam.
I think I can do it.
To climb this mountain on your own, you have to be best climber Everest.
Okay, can we
He
just
climbs for a few more
Black out.
hours, pushing past his body's
Alex
complaints,
face
his
cam.
physical limitations, until he reaches a well-earned plateau.
Let him cook.
Here, he establishes a small base camp and eats
That's where
some of
Shy
his
Guy is. I'm
rations.
telling you, get out of
The
there.
area is thankfully
He's gonna
guarded
get ya.
enough to keep
He's
out the
gonna
worst
touch
of
ya.
the sub-zero winds, so he can at least get some sleep without
Here we
freezing to
go.
death. Mount Everest cannot be conquered today, and even someone with the
Sleeping
explorer's
on
bravado
or in
wouldn't
Mount
dare
Everest.
to try.
That's cool.
But
That'd
as
be a
he
cool
settles
video.
down to sleep for the night, he can't
you're
help
freezing.
but look up. And
He's
the
in a little
enormity of
cocoon.
what stands before him, he finds utterly terrifying.
Wait, how was he still
The
looking at
mountain
Mount
just
Everest when
keeps
he's in
going
it?
and going.
There's, like,
and
different
going,
peaks.
stretching up into the misty heavens, like the tip would only be a short jump from the moon. For the first time, the explorer begins to genuinely wonder, will I scale this mountain, or will I die on it? What he never even considered.
This is the first time he's not smiling. He's getting nervous.
He's freezing. He's in a cave, and he hasn't even done it yet. He has to sleep there the entire night. I'd be scared.
I think what they don't think about either is that they have to get all the way back down the mountain too. And that must take almost as long as climbing up it.
You just take like a sled and go.
I don't think it's as easy as that, Adam.
That's an easy way to die.
Is that there may be a third option that's so much worse. Over the next few days, he keeps climbing further
he's
and
still
further. Hundreds, then thousands of meters pass under him as he breaks past even the boundaries biology seemed to set for him. He's impossible to deter. An engine of pure burning willpower, going
He's a
because he
beast.
knows he cannot stop.
Beast.
Because he knows that if he throws in the towel now, it will have all been for nothing. He'll be just another failure, one speck among billions. He'll have no meaning, no legacy. He'll just be another average Joe, forgotten. And that honestly scares him even more than the prospect of freezing to death up here. Eventually, even though it costs him almost everything to do it, he reaches 8,000 meters,
What?
an area
The
known
death
as
zone?
the Death Zone, where
Huh?
That can't be real.
So when you reach that, are you guys turning around, or what do you guys do?
I
You
mean,
gotta
at
keep
that,
going.
I mean, at that point, you're in too deep. You got to keep going.
Well, the thing is, like, if you do something as serious as try to climb Mount Everest, you have to have the understanding of, like, yeah, I might die on this trip, you know? So, like, when you see that, it's like, yeah, like, you gotta expect that to be a possibility. So, yes, you see that, and you're like, all right, here we go. This is
got
what I signed
really
up
real.
for.
I think I'd turn around.
This
Yeah,
isn't
of
even
course
the
you would.
scary part yet.
It's
where
not.
it's
Wait,
believed
how
to
many
be
meters is
impossible
it?
for humans to acclimate. This is the
8,000
thin,
meters
rarefied
high.
air that few have been permitted to breathe.
least.
And he's seen so many brightly colored mile markers on the way to here. The ground is slippery, and the air chews into the explorer's skin, but he knows he's made it this far. Less than 1,000 meters from the peak now, he has
Oh, he's almost there.
conquered the mountain. So you can only imagine how surprised he feels when he sees another
please don't be
mountaineer
Shy Guy.
walking
Please don't
down
be
the
Shy
side
Guy.
of the mountain towards him with an eerie kind of casualness. He's wearing standard mountain
No.
climbing gear,
No.
including white thermal
that
pants
Michael
and
Jackson?
a hooded coat, zipped up to the chin. The explorer can't make out the stranger's face beyond the pair of thick, black
out your
goggles
gun now.
he's wearing over his
Who is
eyes.
this?
What the hell is going on here?
I start tossing snowballs at him, make him take off his face mask.
You think so? Well, it's just probably another person, right?
No. Why do you think there's all these dead bodies? Mount Everest is easy to climb. It's the animals and the people there that make it so hard.
I don't think any animals live there, Adam.
They do, and they don't want you to conquer the mountain because it's like this huge accomplishment. So they'll do whatever they can to not let you succeed.
Interesting.
That's why
I never-
I'll
I
bring
never knew that.
I'll bring an M16 when I
And you
go.
bring Alec as bait.
And I'll bring Alec as bait.
smart.
I'm gonna bring one of them slow cookers and have some beef jerky.
Alec, can I bring you when I go and bring you as bait as well?
Whatever you guys need to do, I'm here for you.
Thanks, Al.
That's a big piece of bait.
The second the stranger's eyes fall upon him, he feels a frightening sensation. The bite of the cold
That's gotta be
is
Shy Guy.
gone. The chilling winds can't reach him. Instead, he feels warm, cozy,
He's
and
smiling
content,
again.
like
Ew.
he's sitting in front of
Adam,
a
what's
warm
that behind
fire
you?
in a well-insulated log cabin.
Okay, stop. Don't.
In any
don't
other
do that.
circumstance,
I
these
swear I saw
sensations
something.
might be welcomed, but a seasoned mountaineer knows that this is actually one of the worst things you can feel.
Really?
It means that death is creeping in,
Oh.
and your body is opening the front door and welcoming it.
That's probably not even real. It
That's
could
not
be
even a real person?
hallucination. Yeah, a hallucination.
Whoa, what is that?
Hallucination.
Yeah, it is a fascination.
Oh my gosh. Wait, this is what death looks like?
I guess so, yeah. Death is at the front door, and he's about to let it in.
That's not even that bad then. So when you're about to die, you actually smile. You enjoy it.
Yeah, but you don't want to die, Adam, remember? Don't do it, Adam. Don't go in.
Yeah, I forgot.
up.
Sorry, I
Wake
forgot.
up, wake up.
And if this stranger is causing that feeling, then one thing is certain: he's bad news. The explorer wants to turn and run, but he finds that he can't. It's almost as though he's frozen in place, entranced by the warm, inviting feeling that the other mountaineer seems to exude as he gets closer and closer. That's when the explorer notices something strange about him. Something is glowing through his goggles, like hot
Run
embers
the other
burning
way!
a bright,
Oh, he's a
luminous
ginger.
orange. Are those eyes? Dear God, are those his eyes?
He's a demon.
Go the
Explorer
other
can
way.
Feel their terrible stare.
It's not
Literally
worth it.
Feel it. It hurts to be looked at by this monster. Yes, that's what it is. A monster. A monster in the shape of a man. Why are you here, mortal? Comes a booming voice from the inhuman mountaineer. Do you wish to challenge me?
Who is that?
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
The
whoa,
explorer
whoa.
can't form words. He's quaking, his body acknowledging the cold that his mind can't, as those two glowing eyes bore into him. Speak, the stranger commands.
Okay, Jack, you are the most knowledgeable in SCPs. Could this potentially be a different SCP that maybe transforms others into SCPs and now, like, the original guy becomes a shy guy?
I'm super proud of you. You're very much on the right track. However, not a chance. This is definitely not an SCP. This is like the spawn of Satan, okay? This is not an SCP.
Is that not what
I've never
SCPs
seen
are?
a
Satan
no,
is an SCP?
No. Trust me. Trust me. Demons and SCPs, completely different, okay? Sometimes SCPs seem like demons, but trust me, this is definitely not an SCP. This is the spawn of the devil, okay? And it also could be a hallucination inside of his brain. We don't even know if this thing is real.
Unless Jack is an SCP and his role is to confuse our brain into thinking that that's not an SCP.
Unless you're an SCP and your role is to convince me that Jack's an SCP and you're actually the SCP and I'm the one that needs to reverse the entire mindset, and really, I was right the whole time.
The only way to get to the bottom of this is to smash like, and if it turns blue, Alec is an SCP.
Who? What? Are you? The explorer forces out between chattering teeth. The stranger laughs.
Hey,
I am the king of the mountain. Though to the SCP Foundation, he's better known
what
as
is that behind you?
SCP-1529.
Oh,
and he's the
I
worst
got
possible
it!
thing you can run into while trying to scale Mount
Well,
Everest.
not. You
The
have
explorer
called it.
remembers
Let's
his
see.
conversation with the old man in the tavern. The question he asked,
The
what
king.
will you say when you're face to face with the king? And his own foolish answer, I'll ask him for his crown. Now, really, truly face to face with the king of the mountain, all the poor terrified explorer can do is whimper and beg for mercy.
Oh, that's not
Please,
what you do.
he says, the tears freezing on his cheeks as they fall.
What do you do?
I just wanted to climb.
Wait, this might be a really dumb question, but if you cry when you're on Mount Everest, wouldn't your eyeballs just freeze?
I think it just said that, like, the tears freeze as soon as they hit your face. But you wear goggles so that your eyeballs don't freeze.
Oh, okay. All right.
King of the mountain laugh, his eyes burning. Then you will climb, he says, and climb and climb and climb.
Isn't that
The
what he's
king of the
doing
mountain
anyways?
must have wielded
Think so.
truly unspeakable power to do what he does next.
Whoa.
With a simple nod, the explorer is
What?
suddenly hanging off the mountainside, his fingers
He's a
digging into
waterbender.
the craggy
Oh, no.
rocks. The only thing supporting his weight. It was like being back at square one all over again, except with added pain, terror, and cold so deep he can feel his
Oh,
bones
no.
rattling. And all the while, he feels those eyes upon him, those burning, fiery eyes, staring with absolute malice.
Okay, the other guy, the guy with the scar, should have gave him a better warning. Like, he just like lightly mentioned the king. If he actually knew that this guy was up here, I would be screaming and putting signs up, have ads up on the wall.
I mean, yeah, to be honest, whatever the government that's in place there, they should not let people walk up this mountain if they know this is at the top.
That's like how when. Nah, never mind.
He keeps climbing. Every time he reaches a plateau, a place where he might camp and find even momentary comfort, the king of the mountain is already waiting there, staring that horrible stare.
Ooh.
And just like that, the explorer was climbing again, wind whipping against him like 40 lashes
Not
from a
gonna
cat o'
win.
nine tails. That, coupled with the endless strain of the climb
He's
on his
going
muscles,
down.
is the worst agony he's ever felt.
You gotta
And
just
yet-
let go.
He never dies.
Huh?
Even though he hasn't eaten in days, weeks, months, years, he never, ever
Years?
dies.
No, wait.
He just fulfills the same torturous loop over and over again. It's like the king of the mountain is just keeping him alive for his own amusement, a toy that's impossible to break. But while the
Years?
explorer never breaks, as time goes on and the torments never cease,
Oh,
he does
it was
begin to
Option A.
change, like rock being molded by the tide. First, from the endless stress,
him.
his hair falls out. His skin goes pale from the lack of sun. His body
He's
becomes
gonna be
thin
the
and
SCP.
wiry from starvation and malnourishment. The endless physical strain even
What?
warps his limbs. His arms and
I
legs
called
begin to
it.
stretch.
I
his body
literally
becomes
called it.
elongated
That is
and
exactly what I
grotesque.
said.
All the way through this horrific, dehumanizing ordeal, the king of the mountain stares at him. One day, the explorer, now changed, reaches a plateau, and as can be expected, the king of the mountain stares at him with his burning eyes.
How?
The explorer cowers and covers his face with his hands,
No.
sobbing from exhaustion. He just wants the king of the mountain to look away, to leave him be. He babbles incoherently. He doesn't want to be seen anymore.
Oh my gosh, this is
His
crazy.
pain simply makes the king of the mountain laugh. I gave you your wish, the mountain king says, his voice oozing with contempt. You climbed, didn't you? You thought that your climbing would elevate you, make you more than human.
What?
But now, you're so much less.
It's
Our
gross.
business concludes here. I'm tired of playing with you. And with that, the king is gone. The explorer is alone, stranded among the snow and the whipping winds of the death zone, but very much alive. He's finally able to go.
That's literally exactly what I said. I said the king was another SCP turning other people into SCPs, and that was Shy Guy.
But he only turned this one guy into an SCP. Why didn't he do it with other people?
Common Siren W.
Because this guy's the strongest climber out of everybody, so he knew that this was going to be the guy. He probably
Interesting.
tested everybody else, but they all failed.
Exactly.
Those were
They
the dead
died to the
bodies.
tests.
The one thing I am curious about is why does Shy Guy become so violent then when people look at him?
Because Jack, he's been climbing for years.
And all he remembers is the king's stare. He didn't want the king to look at him anymore, so he doesn't want anyone to look at him.
Dude, but he should be, if anything, like nicer to people because he just got tormented for so many years.
He hasn't had
He's
social
changed.
contact in years, Jack. He doesn't know how to interact with people.
At long last, after what felt like an eternity, he's escaped. When the explorer arrives in the village again, he's not the explorer at all. It's been
Ew.
years since he went missing on the mountain. The old man who had warned him not to go up onto Mount Everest had passed peacefully in the interim.
Aw.
The other members of his small village would not be afforded the same luxury. Instead, the explorer stumbled back through the village limits, still covering his face. The only sounds he can hear are the wailing wind and his own pitiful sobbing. Everything hurts. He's so
how he's gonna
terribly
turn evil.
afraid. He needs somebody to help him. Why will nobody help him? The sun begins to rise, and the village shakes itself awake. People leave their homes to go about their daily tasks. None of them are expecting to see a monster loping through their streets.
Okay, what I think happens is that the Shy Guy, he's just looking for help right now, right? He's actually just a normal person. But then everybody
what they
calls
said.
him a monster and ugly and this and that, and you're stupid, you're bald. You literally have red hair, but it all fell out. So now
Exactly,
you're
so they
bald.
start
You have
bullying
nothing.
him.
Even your arms are weird. Like you
then
have
he
the
lashes out.
whitest of skin.
That makes sense, Adam. Actually, you might be a genius.
So they keep calling him a monster,
Pale,
so he turns
gangling
in.
monstrosity,
what people are
stretched and
calling it.
hairless. It engenders a mix of fear and curiosity as it stumbles around, audibly sobbing with a loud, warped voice. It's like nothing any of them have ever seen before, like something out of a myth or a folk tale. But for the monster that was once the explorer, it's so much worse. At first, he thinks that the villagers might be there to
my
help him.
gosh.
But then,
Is he blind?
sees their eyes, that same intense, burning fire pit orange as the king
I
of the
told
mountain.
you.
What?
That
Oh,
same
I
horrible
see.
gaze that the
Why do they
explorer
all
thought
have
he'd escaped
eyes like
when he
that?
left the mountain.
king did it to
gaze
him.
that meant pain, torment, and madness. Even when he tries to cover his face, when he wails at them to go away in words that make sense to no one but him, he can still feel those terrible eyes on him. Is he still on the mountain? Is he still at the mercy of the Mountain King? Are these all just illusions or projections, another awful trick? What did he ever do to deserve this kind of torment? Was the crime of wanting to climb a damn mountain worth this kind of everlasting suffering? Did it earn him the gaze of all these monstrous eyes? The explorer begins to feel his anguish being replaced by another feeling. Rapidly rising rage.
angry.
The kind of pure, blistering hatred
Oh,
that
he wants
inexorably
revenge.
leads to one result.
Here we go.
Violence. First, he screams.
Oh my
Then
God.
they scream.
I don't know what to
And
do. I
finally,
don't know what I would do.
The killing begins.
Was he eat
The
them?
creature
What does he
that had once
do?
been the explorer
Kills
leaves no
them.
stone unturned. Even when they try to run away, he still feels their eyes
How
on
is he
him.
so fast?
He needs to kill them all.
This is one of the strongest SCPs. People say this is the
How did he get so
strongest
strong?
SCP,
From, I
actually.
guess, from training over and over and
I
over?
guess.
He's like One Punch Man.
And the king must have gave him some insane powers because as soon as you look at Shy Guy, even if you go to outer space, even if you go under the water, you go anywhere, he's gonna find you and he's gonna kill you. There's no escaping.
Wait, what if I hide in like a secret nuclear bunker? There's no way he's getting there.
Doesn't matter, yeah. He's gotten in every single place, everywhere, anytime, you're dead.
Them quickly, leave no trace. It's the only way he can feel anything close to at peace again. It becomes a kind of terrible chain reaction. The sound of the horrors going on in the street only entices more to come outside and see what's going on, to look at the creature causing all this carnage, to see its face. They have no idea that this very
I hate
action
this.
is
What
dooming
if that
them.
was the last thing you've ever
Within
seen?
the hour, the village is empty,
Well, it was
save
for those people.
one
That'd be
creature.
terrible.
The creature that had once been the explorer, now just afraid, confused,
Don't.
and alone.
Oh, I mean,
bad
You will
for him.
always
oh, get
be
him!
alone. The anomaly that will soon be known as
crying.
SCP-096 simply bows its
I
head
kind of feel bad for him now.
and weeps.
Yeah, me
If you
too.
want to support our important mission,
Wow, that is the story of Shy Guy.
That was so sad.
Jack? Jack! Oh, God, no, no!
Out of all the SCPs, which one do you guys think is the strongest?
It's gotta be Bigfoot.
I think it's Shy Guy.
Those are pretty good guesses, but in today's video, we are going to be learning about the strongest SCP to ever exist.
Oh boy. Should I be scared?
if
Yes.
he breathes, the bear will see him.
Don't breathe.
Lying flat on his stomach, the boy has no choice but to watch as the hulking brute eats his father before his very eyes. Lying in the thicket just a few trees away, the boy knows that any small movement he makes could prove fatal.
Oh, no.
A bear this large, hunting for its hibernation, will have no issue chasing him down in a split second.
Are you trying to tell me the SCP right now is a bear?
No, Adam. It is
it's
way
stronger?
scarier than that bear.
I am about to poop myself right now from just this bear.
Guys, I breathe. Does that mean I die?
No, it's gonna be okay, but hold your breath in 3, 2, 1.
Look at the bear's eyes.
And doing exactly what he did to his father.
That's his dad.
The boy is utterly powerless. All he can do is stay deathly still and watch. They'd found the tracks too late.
Okay.
On the way
You guys
back
are
to
good.
camp, they'd been following the
Yeah.
wooded cliff that lines the ocean's edge. Bows and salmon slung over their shoulders. They'd been so proud of their catch and the prospect of bringing it back to the tribe that they hadn't kept their wits about them.
Guys,
Oh, they always gotta sound high alert.
nobody built an emotional connection to the dad. We all know he's about to die, all right? I don't
We
want to
do.
I don't want to see anyone
Yeah.
crying.
And it also seems like this is taking place way further in the past. You know, they look like cavemen. So there's that.
So this SCP's been around for a hot minute.
Seems like it.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
By the time they'd
Good
seen the
observation.
enormous prints in the dirt, the sound of lumbering footsteps were already echoing through the trees behind them. The boy's bow is too far out of reach. He dropped it when his father pushed him into the thicket. He's got the knife hanging at his side, but he doubts it's long enough to even get through the bear's fatty hide. In contrast, the only thing protecting him from its bite is the leather hide slung across his shoulders and a woven garment from the tribe's elders. One slash of the bear's claw, and he'd be. A
Oh my
breeze
gosh,
ruffles
that's
his hair.
terrifying.
The boy's eyes widen in horror. That wind hadn't come from in front of him, but from behind.
Hey, yo. Oh my
What
gosh.
the heck?
Imagine
Wait.
if you looked behind you and you just saw this thing.
Wow.
Yeah, bears are actually really mean. So if you guys ever see a bear in public, do not approach it.
What are you
And
supposed
don't
to do
run
then?
either, because they can run like 40 miles an hour.
So
True.
what do you do?
And they can climb trees.
You just give it
Just
whatever
don't
it
want-
wants.
Get dirt blocks and like build a shelter.
No, what you do is you don't move and you say, wait, what do you say?
Oh gosh, we're all dead. We're all dead. I
don't know.
This is not. Is that what you're gonna tell the bear? Wait, give me a second. I forget.
Wait, yeah, hold on, bear. Give me a second. Shoo, bear, shoo! Shoo, bear, shoo! That's what you're supposed to do.
Alex
Definitely is
getting
gonna
eaten
get
first.
eaten by the bear.
That's what
Yeah.
you're supposed to do, guys.
The only way that you don't get eaten by the bear is if you trip your other friend like Alec and then you just run and
Yeah.
let him get
We'll
eaten.
let
Guys,
Alec
please don't trip
scream
me.
at the bear. Jack and I will run.
Yeah, shoo! Ah!
Idiot.
Following his scent, his fear, directly towards the bear's nostrils.
Dude,
The
that
boy
breath's probably
plants his muddy
stanky.
palms into the dirt, staring at the animal. Its nostril twitches
throw dirt in its eye.
and twitches again. It half turns its head, sniffing the air. Maybe it won't bother with him. The bear's turning back to its meal already. The boy lets
no.
out a sigh of relief, and a twig snaps.
Oh,
Bear
no.
snarls and
Oh,
whips
no.
its head around. For a second, the two of them
Jeez.
lock eyes, predator and prey. Then the boy takes off running. fast as he can.
Alex
Run,
says that's a
boys!
no-no.
He's
Burns
not
and
fast
nettles
enough.
whipping at his shins. He fumbles the knife out of its sheath and slings the water
Oh,
skin
he has
off
a
his
knife.
shoulder,
Okay, he can deal with
throwing
the
it
bear.
wildly behind him.
What is
He
that
doesn't
gonna
know
do?
if he hit the bear. He doesn't have time to turn around and see. It's going to be on him in an instant. Up ahead, he sees
wearing
sunlight.
pants?
Wait, why would he try and hit the bear with the water bottle? At best, he just gave the bear hydration.
I think he was maybe thinking maybe he was playing like Mario Kart and he thought like maybe the bear would slip on it or something, or like maybe, I don't know. Yeah, like take some of the attention away from him and he would investigate the water bottle instead of chasing the boy. That's what I would do if I was the bear.
It's streaming through the thick trees, the cliff edge. If he can just get to
Oh,
that,
no.
maybe he can climb down and... No, there's no time. Besides,
Maybe he can use the knife
bears
as a
are better
parachute.
climbers, better swimmers, better runners.
What?
All the boy can hope for is that he's a better jumper. Him and the boys from the tribe have leapt off plenty of cliffs along the shore.
Thought that was
Never
way
these
deeper.
ones. There are too many rocks, too many shallows.
What?
But the thundering of 4 enormous paws behind him
He's gotta
is looming
jump.
larger
You gotta
and
jump.
larger. He can almost feel the bear's hot breath on the back of his neck. There's nothing for it. Here goes. The trees clear, the sun blasts his skin, a claw slashes at his back, and the boy launches himself into the air.
Okay, do you think, guys, that this is gonna turn into the SCP? This guy, this little boy.
No.
Pre-predictions.
No, I don't think that the guy is an SCP. It's a reptile.
Yeah,
Adam.
but
This
we've
is
seen in
clearly a
previous
human.
videos that sometimes humans turn into SCPs.
I think that this guy's gonna dive into the water and then the bear isn't going to jump after him and then the hard to destroy reptile is gonna come out of the water like God freaking Zilla and then go fight off the bear.
Oh.
No, I think
I
this
like that.
little boy's gonna grow something out of somewhere, and he's gonna be the strongest thing to ever exist.
Or
and then
maybe
he's
when
gonna
he
come
jumps
back and avenge his
down,
dad.
Maybe he jumps down and maybe he teams up with it. I don't think he's gonna turn into it. How could he?
He's going to, and then he's gonna destroy the bear like his brother bear.
I guess we'll see.
The wind carries him, the weightlessness
Use
of
the knife as a
wheeling his
parachute.
arms and legs through the empty sky.
How is a knife a
Almost enough to
parachute?
make him laugh with joy.
You don't understand
Until
physics.
the boy looks down. The cliff is
looks like the
higher,
Wolverine.
much higher than he'd realized. His momentum carries his torso forwards.
Don't
into a
belly
tumble.
flop.
He's not going.
You're supposed to
land
pencil
straight.
dive. Pencil
He can see
dive.
jagged rocks
Oh,
everywhere beneath
I don't
him.
think a pencil dive's gonna
Boy
work there,
closes his
Alec.
eyes,
No.
crashes into the sea.
Okay, he's.
Oh, he's good. He's
The air
good.
is slammed out of
He's
his lungs.
good.
His knee hits
I don't know if
something
he's
hard
good.
and sharp in the water.
Ow.
The swell
Ooh,
throws
that's
him
the
away
worst.
from the shore and
Hopefully he
pulls
didn't tear
him
an
deep.
He
ACL.
can still swim.
Without
He can
air
still
in
swim.
his chest, he can't float. Kicking hard as
Swim
he
up
can,
there, dummy!
The boy swims upwards,
He's injured.
eyes still screwed shut. His face bashes into a sandy rock. No,
Oh,
it's
no.
Which way is it? Which way should he swim? The ocean current rolls him over and over. Darkness
This
fills
dude's
his
dead.
mind.
Imagine
But his
if the
feet
bear
find
jumps.
a hard surface.
That'd be so
He pushes
funny.
against it, launching himself through the water, kicking as hard as he can. The darkness fades. Light. The boy's head breaches the water, and he's
Professional tip, if you're ever in that situation where you can't see up and down of which way to swim, you're supposed to blow out a little bit of bubbles and feel which way the bubbles are going, because bubbles always go upward. Just saying. You
Thanks,
do a little-
Al.
Noted.
Okay, so I shoo away the bear and then I start blowing bubbles at it and then I'll
I'm
live.
just saying. You know, it might save your life or somebody's life someday, so I'm just putting it
were
out
you
there.
a Boy Scout at some point? You know how to.
All you gotta,
know how to
I'm
stay
just
away
trying
from
to save
bears?
one life at a time. Saving one life at a time.
No, Alec watches Joe Rogan, so he actually learns a lot from that.
Exactly.
when he splutters for air, rubbing the water out of his eyes. He looks around.
Oh, he's good. He's
wildly.
good.
No,
The
he
sea
turned
has
into an
carried him
SCP.
away from the cliff and out into open water.
Oh, the
lifting
riptide
and
took him
dropping
way out.
him
Oh my gosh, this guy is just
Blow
getting
bubbles!
wrecked.
Blow bubbles!
He's gonna
Blow
get stuck
bubbles!
here for probably like 40
Blow
years
bubbles,
and
you
then
fool!
turn
He's
into
just
an
getting
SCP.
wrecked over and over.
Wait,
No
whoa,
way!
whoa,
Yo,
whoa, that bear is
down.
God is dirty.
What
The
kind of
boy's
bear is
stomach
this?
turns. It reaches
my
the bottom of the
gosh.
cliff and sees him there in the
Just
water.
let him live, bear. God
Why is the
dang.
bear like Liam Neeson?
Roars at an almighty volume,
Let him
deafening
go.
the boy over the sound of the waters.
Bears
Even from
can
this
swim
distance,
really, really
the
well.
animal looks impossibly large. It dwarfs
Something
the
wrong with
boulders
that
that
bear.
line the water's edge. It slips into the water, barely making a
No.
ripple.
That's so
No
messed
way
up.
it goes after
Going
him.
straight for him. The
This is
bear
the unluckiest
covering
guy
the distance
ever.
So fast, he only has seconds left.
Blow bubbles! Blow
I didn't
bubbles!
realize this
To
could
keep
get
himself
worse.
afloat. The boy knows he'll never be able to outswim this creature. Instead,
You gotta go under.
he takes a deep breath and looks up at the woods, remembering all of the happy moments he'd spent in there with his father.
Aww.
Current swells beneath the
dad
boy
died.
and almost throws him out of the water. An enormous shadow flies through the depth beneath him.
I knew it!
It couldn't be. Whatever it is, the shadow is
Is it the
swimming
Loch Ness
straight
Monster?
at the advancing bear.
Oh, Adam.
So
Oh my God.
fixated on its prey,
This
the bear doesn't even
is
notice what's approaching. until it's too late.
SCP-682.
The ocean
can't be.
explodes. A blast of water as tall as the cliffs themselves shoots up into the air
Jack,
and
you're
showers
crazy.
the boy's
Whoa!
head. Somewhere in the midst of the spray, a monster erupts.
How big do you think that thing's about to be?
It's gonna be massive.
It's actually not that big. You know, you would think it's like Godzilla level size, but no, it's not. It's like a little compact Godzilla.
I think it's
Wait,
gonna be
it looks like
30
it has
feet.
hair. It looks like it has. Maybe this used to be a person. I think you might have been right, Adam.
Seems like we were both right. This could be his dad.
Blow bubbles at him.
No, that was dumb. Maybe it's his grandpa.
From the depths, snapping its jaw around the bear, it lifts the animal into the
Yeah,
air,
that's what you
throws
get.
it against the cliff.
Oh, wow.
The impact is
Holy
so strong,
smokes, it's so strong.
small
Isn't a
landslide
bear 2
follows the
tons?
bear's rolling body as it tumbles back towards the water. But the boy has eyes only for the monster
Bears are not
emerging
2
from the
tons.
sea,
Did you just say that?
crawling up the rocks with one gnarled
Ew.
foot after another. The boy can
Sounds
hardly
like a
make sense
Pokemon.
of what he's looking at.
That thing is so
It
creepy.
seems to have some kind of scaly hide, harder than the rocks surrounding it. A wave
That would
crashes
be
against the
even
monster
scarier
as it
now.
leers over the bear and sinks its teeth into the animal's hide. Unable to look away, the boy kicks out and starts swimming.
Swim.
away
Now's
up
your
the
chance,
coast.
little boy.
Swim.
Only once he's a long way around the bay does he
Is this the
dare to
origin
clamber
stories of
out
Tarzan?
and back onto land. That night, once the rest of the tribe have gone to sleep, the boy can't help but lie wide awake in his tent. Without his father here, it's not the
Where's
same.
mommy?
Quietly rolling up the
Aww.
hide doorway, the boy slips out into the night. They're camped by a small cave with beautiful smooth walls inside. They say it's the cave of their ancestors, the place where all life started. The fire in the cave has to always burn. Fortunately for him, the cave is empty. The boy stares up at the wall in wonder. Finger drawings of animals, hunters, mothers, shamans, gods, and forests fill almost every part of it. Only one space remains in the corner, a finger painting of the rocky cliffs with the swelling sea beneath. Dipping his finger into the paint, the boy sits by the wall and starts to paint. A terrible monster crawling out of the sea with a scaly hide stronger
Kind
than
of looks
any
like a
rock.
crocodile.
So I guess that's probably the first sighting of SCP-682, also known as the hard-to-destroy reptile. That was probably the first time anybody in human existence ever saw that thing lurking about in the entire world. And I know you guys are thinking like, oh my gosh, that thing was strong. But let me tell you, that's not even his best ability, bro. As soon as you watch the rest of the video, you're gonna have nightmares about this thing.
He unlocks new abilities?
Yes.
Is he gonna come after the little boy?
No, he doesn't like little boys.
That's it. You know that from just some finger painting.
Okay, now we're in
The
modern day.
archaeologist turns to the group of researchers surrounding him in the cave. UV lights are set up all along the walls, with the blue and violet shapes revealed all across the stonework. The archaeologist can't help but empathize
this is the
with
boy all grown up
spiritualism
now,
of
I
their
see.
long-forgotten ancestors who lived in these caves thousands of years ago.
No, Adam.
Adam, you are actually so dumb. This, you know, like this is like real life. Like people study like hieroglyphs and stuff and try to figure out like what the people went through way back in the day.
Why would they be waving and rowing? I don't understand.
Why would they be hooing and whatting?
You said high and row.
Ancient caveman technology, Adam. They used to draw inside of caves.
Yeah, they used to make like drawings of what they saw of like tigers and mammoths and that sort of stuff.
There were, Adam, do you know how to
Aliens?
paint? The Egyptians actually drew up the aliens, yes.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm back in. I think I get what you guys are saying.
The
Drawing.
professor was the one who asked the question. A cold woman, standing well over 6 feet tall with a crop of fiery ginger hair. To him, she seemed less of a scientist,
Come
more of a
on,
military
don't
leader.
laugh at that. What is
What does
funny?
he know?
What is funny?
It's
What is
Alec,
funny,
though.
Why
Adam?
is it fiery ginger?
What is so funny?
Why'd they have to go
She has
into
a fiery
detail about her
personality.
head?
Nothing funny about
probably.
that. Nothing funny about that. Let's move on.
Okay.
Walk with
Sure,
me,
she's very
she
kind-hearted.
says and leads him out of the cave. Personnel fills the surrounding area. Most of them
Jeez,
are
look at
armed.
those P90s.
Cranes lift huge sheets of reinforced lead plating into place. Several mysterious vats line the edge of the forest, each adorned with more warning and hazard signs than you'd see in a nuclear power station. The two of them have to pause for a moment as 3 tanks roll past them.
What's
Oh
the
my
government
gosh, they have
do?
so much
Silence.
artillery.
They're turning that whole
You know the
area
reason I
into
started
Area
all my
51.
research in the first place? Did I ever tell you that story? Every early civilization in the world, whether it's ancient China, Mesopotamia, South America, Northern Europe, all these cultures, you take a look at their mythology and what do you find? The professor ignores him, instead choosing to bark orders at a group of agents talking over coffee. They all immediately dump their drinks and get back to work. What one thing do they all talk about, even though it never existed?
Is it this
Aliens.
SCP? The SCP could kind of be an alien. Some of the SCPs do remind me of like different aliens that, you know, maybe they came from Earth, but maybe not.
Yes, Jack. Who runs the world?
Girls?
SCPs.
Oh, SCP.
Dragons.
We all just had different
All these
answers.
disparate people with no contact with one another, all of them still draw pictures of dragons. The professor stops
dragons.
walking at the edge of the cliff. The pair of them stand there, surveying
Dragons
the
were never
vast
real.
ocean
Hey, that's where he
stretching out in
jumped.
front of
That's where
them.
the kid jumped. That's the
Researchers
same
I have a
spot.
feeling
and
that
workers rush
fiery
around
hair
behind
girl's
them.
about to push him.
After a long pause, the professor asks him to proceed. In ancient Hebrew text, when they talk about God creating the world in 7 days, what happens on day 5? The professor flicks the hair out of her eyes and replies curtly, God created fish in the sea and birds in the sky. Well, not exactly. Look at the original Hebrew. He created all of the fish that teem in the sea, sure, but he also created Leviathan, a serpent-like monster from the depths, as old as the world
Really?
itself.
That's in the book?
You think that's what we're dealing with? Maybe.
Oh.
Or something worse.
Oh my gosh.
By nightfall,
It's way
preparations
worse,
are
Lois.
operational.
Leviathan is
Enormous
way-
floodlights switch
How's
on,
that
one
worse than
after
the
another,
Leviathan?
illuminating an
Isn't that
enormous
huge?
steel box with an open lid at
Way
the top,
worse.
surrounded by
not
armed
even that
agents,
tall.
huge net launchers, and several tanks. It all seems a
It's
bit
not worse.
excessive as far as the archaeologist is concerned. He isn't officially still supposed to be here, but in all the scramble for the Foundation to get the capture site ready, no one noticed that he had stuck around.
This guy's shady.
From the viewing
I don't like
platform
him.
several hundred meters away, he has to watch it all unfold through a pair of binoculars. Out above the water, suspended from one of the cranes, is an elephant carcass. The professor told him that the Foundation had even marinated it for extra flavor. He had only been recruited
my
into this
gosh,
project a
that's
couple of
brutal.
months ago.
A whole
But from what
elephant?
he could tell, it's been an ongoing priority for the Foundation for
Wait, Jack, I thought you said this thing's not that big. How's it gonna eat that whole elephant?
Adam, I don't want to spoil the rest of the movie for you.
Oh, wait, he was just a baby. That was
Can't
just a
say
baby
anything. I don't
SCP-682.
wanna- I don't want to tell you, Adam.
Wait,
I
we
can't
didn't
tell
see the
you.
adult. Oh my gosh, it's about to get insane. Okay,
several
I'm
years
locked.
now. The scale of the operation of just setting up at this site is already mind-boggling, but they've been chasing up leads like this for years now. Arriving at scenes, they suspect this creature has been sighted in the past and setting up traps for it. He was only brought in out of desperation. The Foundation had exhausted all recent hunting grounds and was trying to cast the net even wider. He'd just been quietly working on his university
wonder
research
what they're
paper
gonna
about
use this
ancient
weapon
reptile
for.
drawings when the agents had let
creature.
themselves into his office. But staring through his binoculars now, the archaeologist knows there's no chance of this operation actually working. They have floodlights, for crying out loud. No intelligent predator would come anywhere near that elephant carcass. Movement. Not in the waters or any of the lit up areas. No, there's something in the forest line, just behind a group of researchers.
Ooh, there it is.
He
Get
gets
out of there.
instinctively
Get the
for his
flip out of there.
walkie-talkie, then stops
SCGs.
himself. How many times had he got jittery before and reported something preemptively? The agents already don't take him seriously as it is. He can't be jumping at shadows. But there it is again, a shape moving
is how
fast
every
through
horror
the
movie
trees.
starts.
He scans the binoculars this way and that, trying to find it. Just a group of researchers there, some agents there, supply crates, researchers, agents. Wait, weren't there more of them a second ago?
He's not gonna tell anybody?
He looks closer. Someone's gone missing. He clicks on the radio. South Lookout Team, report in. Nothing. South Lookout Team.
Oh gosh.
A sickening fury
gosh.
settled
gonna
in
Jack,
his
stop
stomach.
smiling.
All those bright
This is the
lights
human
everywhere,
race, Jack.
Casting a
What
lot
team are
of
you
dark
on?
Shadows.
I'm
He has to do
grimacing.
something fast. Running
grimace?
down from the lookout point, the archaeologist takes off running through the trees to the site. He holds his radio up to his mouth as he goes, trying to get anyone to respond.
At least grab a gun, guy.
The thicket cracks and crunches under his
He's
feet
an
as he tries to make
archaeologist.
his
He
way
doesn't know
through
how
the
to
dark
use
woods,
one.
ignoring the
He pulled
feeling
the
that
trigger.
crawls up his neck of being watched. A boulder blocks his way. The
That's not the
archaeologist
boulder.
grabs
That's not a
onto it
boulder,
with
is
both
it?
hands and hauls himself on top of it, stopping for a moment to catch his breath.
Just run around it,
From
dummy.
here, he can see the floodlit capture site. The tanks and cranes still sit
The
rumbling,
elephant's
ready
gone.
to go at a moment's notice. But he can't see any ground crew anymore. He switches
Where's
the
the
radio
elephant?
to the open channel and calls out for anyone to respond. The professor's voice crackles back at him.
What are you still doing here? This is a highly dangerous operation that you don't have clearance for.
He yells at her to cancel it. They need to evacuate the site immediately. It's compromised. She laughs derisively and cuts off the channel.
No, you
She
dummy.
has to believe him. People are dying. More of them will if she doesn't. The archaeologist whispers to himself in the darkness. It's no monster. It's just an innocent creature.
I need to see this
Thing
thing
with a
now.
power you don't understand. It's strange. For a moment, he swears he almost hears a voice whispering something back to him in the woods. I love you. When he looks around, he's all on his own.
Subscribe.
He has to keep moving. The creature could be anywhere. Hopping off the jagged boulder, the archaeologist takes off running through the forest once
He's
more,
not going very
looking over his
fast.
shoulder every few steps. The light
This
must
would be
play
so
tricks on him.
scary, bro.
In
I'm scared of the dark. I don't know
can't
about
see
you
the boulder
guys.
He was standing on a
I know,
moment
you sleep
ago
with a
anywhere.
nightlight.
Yeah.
He bursts out
Alex
of the tree
sleeps with a
line and
nightlight.
into the clearing right next
Okay.
to the steel box. A ramp leads up to the top of it with
Do
a
not
large
go in that
trap
box.
door
That's where he's
suspended
waiting.
over the open lid. Well, if he wants to be seen and heard, that's where he needs to go. The archaeologist runs up the ramp and waves
my
his
God.
hands wildly
you
in the
big
air.
fat
about to
dummy.
risk
Tanks
his
all
life.
turn their turrets
I
to
wonder
aim
if
at
that's
him.
what they were
The crane holding
anticipating.
the
Like they
enormous
wanted
steel
him to
lid
do
of the
this.
enclosure
Yo!
looms menacingly above his head. And there, marching
He's
out
the
onto
bait!
the field, looking absolutely furious, is the professor. Her red hair looks more like a ball of flames right now. We need to evacuate the site now. It's here. She snarls and marches up
Wait,
the
they're
ramp to
both
meet him,
bait!
jabbing a finger in the archaeologist's face. He suddenly realizes how much taller she is. You are not jeopardizing
Oh,
our
gosh.
one
Oh,
chance
gosh.
of catching this thing. Get out of the way, or I will have
She's
you
definitely
detained.
dead.
Besides,
Never mess
what
with the
evidence
flames.
do you have?
That's what I say.
But the archaeologist isn't looking at her. Instead,
Oh.
his eyes stare in
This could
horror
be very
at
bad.
the elephant carcass suspended behind her.
Looks
There
like
was
a
a
whole
huge
bite.
reptilian bite mark taken out of it.
How?
A testing bite.
How has no one
like the ones
noticed?
given
Dude,
by
nobody
sharks.
noticed?
How
She
did no one
turns to
notice?
follow his gaze.
Maybe
and
there's
all of
nobody
her
left.
rage is washed away in a sickening
Oh
delight.
gosh, she's twisted.
Yeah. A scream from the crane holding the elephant makes them both jump. But by the time they look up at the cabin, all they see is a hulking shadow leaping away
Bruh.
into the darkness.
This was a
How is
bad
that
idea
fast?
from
The
the
professor
start.
clicks on her
Get out of
walkie-talkie
there
and starts
now!
issuing commands. No one responds, except the tank crews. She tries again.
Okay, they have
Radio
a team of tanks.
silence.
I like that.
Now the gravity of the
I
situation
think they're
really
fine.
starts to hit her. Eyes wide with panic, she runs off down the ramp, barking into her radio and leaving the archaeologist
She was just
up here on
smiling
his
5
own.
seconds ago.
Suddenly, under all of these lights, he feels very exposed. It could be anywhere in the shadows. Footsteps, heavy planted footsteps tremor
Is that how
to
you
the
feel when you
ground.
try to go to bed,
Out
Alec?
of the woods walks
Oh,
the creature. Several
This
meters
is the
long,
monster
flat
hiding
from
it
all of its
under your
hunting.
covers.
The beast that would soon be known as SCP-682
Looks like an
slinks
emo.
into view.
Yo!
It looks up at him, standing there on the trap door.
thought it was a
of
water
metal
creature.
box.
What's going on?
It looks like it's almost ready to laugh at how easy this will be. Boom! The tank blast hits the creature square.
Come on,
Doesn't
surely
matter.
a tank
Dodge.
can take it on.
Dodge.
Doesn't
Boom.
matter.
Yeah, see, look, the
Wait,
tank
what?
just destroyed it.
Imagine the video's over, just like one tank shot destroys that
No,
thing.
dude, it would take literally a million tank shots to
No
even do
way.
like 1%
A million?
damage.
What?
What are you, some sort of expert? What?
This is basically like Wolverine from X-Men times 25. Like, this thing can regen quickly. It can change its body to any
no,
environment. If you
stop,
shot it with a
stop.
nuke,
No.
it would turn into nuclear waste so that it survived.
I don't
No,
think. I don't
tanks
think
are made out of like titanium and steel. There's no way that it can hurt a tank.
It's
These
not going to touch
tanks
a tank.
are nothing. That is literally like me throwing a little pebble at your face. It's not going to do anything.
Yeah, that hurts. That hurts.
That hurts a lot.
Please don't do that.
I would cry and then I would tattle on
Three
you.
tanks
with my-
open fire one after the other, laying round after round into the colossal reptile, kicking more and more dust into the air.
That's GG's. Bye bye,
Before long,
Crocky.
there's a crater in the
See, look,
ground
it's gone.
so large,
It's literally
it looks
exploded.
Yeah, it
almost
got
like
deleted.
an asteroid hit it. Smoke
Jack,
and
you are
dust
so
filled the
dumb.
air.
This- you said this SCP was the
not
strongest
okay.
ever?
His eyes
You
filled
are
with
so dumb.
tears. That
Guys, comment
majestic
down below
creature, roaming
what
the
you think
earth
about
long
this
before
SCP.
mankind ever did.
Prove them wrong.
Exterminated, just like that.
GG's.
Cowards. That's what people really are. Cowards. But as the dust clears, a groaning sound echoes around the clearing. The archaeologist shields his
No.
eyes and peers into the crater as
No
best
way.
he can.
That's probably the dad or
There's
something.
nothing there. Boom! He wheels around and almost falls backwards in shock. The SCP is snuck through
Oh,
the
crap. Oh, no
No
way.
way.
stares at the armored bodywork, doing
How
all it
strong
can
are
to
its jaws?
destroy
It's
it.
ripping through the tank.
In a panic,
Yeah,
two of the
dude,
tanks
it
point
could do
toward one
anything.
another and fire.
They just shot each
destroying
other.
themselves
Okay,
in the
who
process.
hired
The
this
creature
military
rounds on the
crew?
remaining
Yeah, those
tank,
guys are
probably
pretty dumb.
panicking.
hard on the barrel. The tank fires.
It
The round
ate
going
it.
straight
Shot
down
into
the
its
monster's
belly.
throat
Ate it.
and exploding inside its gut. The backdraft from the blast shoots back through the tank, and a puff of smoke trails out of the hatch at the top.
It
Suddenly,
ate it?
once again,
Yep.
the clearing.
And
is
ate it and then
quiet.
burped it back out at
Turning
it.
back to the archaeologist.
What?
What are we dealing with here?
SCP-682 slinks towards him, smoke still curling up out of
What
his
is
peering
this
teeth.
thing?
Wow.
Heavy, thunking steps. It climbs the ramp towards him, stopping just
Oh,
short
I
of
think
the
he's gonna
trap
capture
door. The two of them stare each other in the eye, predator and prey. Neither move for a moment. Then it opens its mouth. The archaeologist closes his
He
eyes.
did.
Dodge.
No,
Do
he's good,
dodge
he's good, he's
move.
good. They're gonna be friends.
Disgusting creatures deserve this.
Oh yeah, it can talk
He
too, by
opens
the way.
them. Did the monster just
What?
speak?
It must have been a person before.
They hope
super
to
intelligent.
accomplish by attacking me.
He gulps hard. That whisper he heard in the woods, the rock he'd been standing on. They're scientists. Scientists always try to learn more things, understand the world better.
The flip?
We think you can't be killed, so they're testing their hypothesis. The creature growls. The stench of rotten flesh fills the archaeologist's
Oh,
nose.
Ew.
He
no,
takes a step
no,
towards
no.
him, then another. The archaeologist runs. He'll leap off the other end of the platform. It's a big jump, but he could make it. The predator's breath is
No
on the
way
back
he's
of
making
his
that
neck.
jump. It's
He
GG's.
jumps just as the trap door gives way. With an enormous thud, the SCP falls into the steel enclosure.
No way.
Before it has
Is
a
he stuck
chance to
there?
It's that
move,
easy?
the crane
got him.
unhitches the steel lid.
Wait, this thing was like the most
crashing
intelligent
down into
being.
place, sealing the monster
How did it fall for
inside.
that?
No, wait, it's that
The
thumb.
archaeologist lands in the dirt
wow,
and
this
rolls
thing's
onto his
dumb.
back to see the professor,
How?
wild-eyed and cheering, up in the crane's cabin. He
He's
lies
crazy.
there on his back, panting and staring up at the stars. Clunking sound echoes through the clearing, and the gurgle of a liquid flowing through pipes. He
Liquid.
sits up, adrenaline still
They're trying to
pumping
drown
through
that
him.
thing, but it can breathe
Professor has
underwater.
plugged a pipe into the metal enclosure and is running gallons and gallons of liquid into it. He
Maybe it's like
follows the
acid
tube
or
with his
something,
eyes
trying to kill
all
it?
the way to the enormous
It could
hazardous
be.
vats on the edge of the clearing. Hydrochloric acid.
Oh,
I
nice,
called it.
Alec.
In horror, the professor laughs at him. Come on, cheer up. We're just scientists, that's what you said. Just testing a hypothesis.
Yeah, there's no way that worked. This SCP is literally impossible to destroy. And yeah.
You were right, Jack. I'm gonna have nightmares.
Today, we're going to be learning a little bit more about SCP-169, better known as the Leviathan. This is one of the scariest underwater SCPs ever created.
40 years ago, a U.S. Navy exploratory vessel landed on a chain of islands in the South Atlantic, just 2,000 miles off the coast of Argentina. In other words, the middle of nowhere. Yet on this far-off set of rocks afloat in the middle of the ocean, they discovered
it's
a vast
Adam.
array of strange wildlife
Alec.
and plant species that resemble little of what they left behind on the mainland. Could this be a treasure trove of undiscovered species, they wondered? Hoping
has
to
to be.
capitalize on the discovery, a
gonna be a
reconnaissance
baby
team of
Leviathan.
researchers was sent out to explore some of the islands on foot, and what they found did not disappoint.
Ooh, there we go.
From endangered species of birds to plant
looks like a
life and
peacock.
vegetation that looked like it belonged on Mars.
probably the origin of the
they
Leviathan.
found a dizzying array of new and exciting examples of evolutionary oddities that would fill a library.
Interesting.
Quick take. I think the birds will eventually go into the water and then adapt and evolve into the Leviathan. That's just an early theory.
You think that the birds are eventually going to play into the SCP, the
That's a
Leviathan?
Derpoy theory.
Interesting.
You want to join my team? Comment down below right now.
But unfortunately, their
DDT,
jubilation
dumb
was
Derpoy
cut
theory.
short. Attempting to collect soil samples, they dug into the ground and soon discovered that what they were standing on wasn't actually ground at all. The Navy scientists soon discovered the rocky
it's one of them
terrain they
tortoises.
were exploring was actually made up entirely of organic matter. As per the standard
what?
protocol, the SCP
So
found
wait, that
Wait,
means
wait,
that
whoa!
Adam, you were kind of onto something there. I know that you were just kidding, but it's organic matter. So what they're on right now is a living being.
It's a living island. The
The
island's
Leviathan.
literally alive.
Yeah, it's like the giant sea turtle, which Adam was talking about from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
So the
Wait,
entire
Adam.
thing could be a turtle, and that means my first theory about the bird becoming the Leviathan is becoming more factual. You guys all laughed. You guys all
wait.
laughed. Just you
It's
The
laughed.
definitely
Foundation
wrong.
was forced to
Watch.
silence the U.S. Navy research vessel after its discovery. With the okay from the U.S. government, the ship was torpedoed and sunk to the bottom of the ocean with all hands on
What?
deck in the name of protecting the greater good of the masses.
like some dude from
a
France.
tragedy at sea for the sake of preventing worldwide pandemonium. From there, the Foundation took over with the containment procedures
it?
of what would eventually come to be known as SCP-169.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
it
that's
is.
gotta be
Better
it.
known by its nickname, the Leviathan.
Whoa.
The Leviathan
only seen
is
this
a
thing in
biblical
Minecraft.
creature of mythical proportions, said to be
Oh
able to
my
boil the
God.
seas and create earth-ending floods with just a whip of its massive continent-spanning body. It is unclear if SCP-169 has the ability to do these things, though, given its massive size, which Foundation researchers estimate to be somewhere between 2,000 and 8,000 kilometers.
Just to
Wait.
give,
It's
just
easy
to
to
give an
s-
estimate, like how big is one whale?
Like a blue whale?
How big
like the
is
biggest
a
whale.
blue whale? So a
80
blue
feet.
whale.
In kilometers.
Yeah, in kilometers.
0.001 kilometers.
Let me see. Yeah, it's not very long at all. It's only 33 meters, which is like a fraction of a kilometer. So this thing is as big as like the United States of America.
No, it's not.
It's gotta be
You
close.
shut your mouth. What? How does that even fit in the ocean?
I don't know, but the ocean is big and it's scary, and we've explored more of the ocean than we have of space.
And 8,000
able to do
kilometers.
it?
It's
Test
easy
on
to
it.
see how something that big moving at any speed could be devastating for the coastal regions of
How
the
does it
world.
not just eat the whole
Although
world?
we use the
I
word
know, it can one
contain,
bite in America.
It is impossible for SCP staff to ever contain something of such massive
So they just need to
size.
monitor it.
Surveillance and monitoring are about all we can do for now. That and hope it never wakes up.
That's why I'm always
Besides
scared to go.
Oh, it's
that we are on the
sleeping.
menu.
Oh.
It was thought to be
That's good
relatively
for us.
smooth
I haven't gone in the
sailing
ocean in 2
until
years.
one incident changed.
You're gonna have to keep it that way.
Dr. Hart turned off the video monitor and
It just
faced the
looks like a whole
assembled
island.
members of MTF Gamma 6, also known as the Deep Feeders, renowned for their specialization in the tracking of deep sea and oceanic anomalies. The room was dark, and each team member was sitting in shadow, but still Dr. Hart could see the seriousness on their faces. I'm sure you're wondering why I called you here at such short notice,
Crazy
he
scientist.
said. On the screen behind him, he put up a NASA satellite picture of a small set of rocky islands.
Okay.
I think that this is the Leviathan.
Do you think that maybe the smaller islands are like baby leviathans?
No.
No, I think it's just like his tail, like going up and down, in and out of the
You see
ocean.
on the right side, it kind of curves to the left. I think he's just sleeping on a curve.
Yeah, he's sleeping on his side. That's how I sleep too. I sleep like a baby with my knees like up to my chest. I do that.
Yeah, it
That's
must
what he's
be
doing.
sleeping for a long, long time, considering that it has like dirt on its back and it has like mountains and like plants and stuff.
Yeah, there's a
living
whole
on it.
ecosystem living on
Yeah,
him.
that would take thousands of years.
If America just like got up and started walking away,
It'd be pretty cool though. I'd be like, wow, that's cool.
you would say, "Oh, that's cool." Not, "Oh my gosh, the world is not as it seems. I'm gonna die."
It would
I'd
be like an
probably do both.
earthquake 24/7.
Let me kiss the
Yeah.
first person I see. You know?
What if he farted, dude? That'd probably like eliminate a whole species.
That would literally be a nuclear fart.
You see this little island chain here? Well, it wasn't there a week ago. He paused, rubbing his forehead from lack of sleep.
so it
At
moved.
8:05 a.m. today, we recorded another auditory anomaly emitting from SCP-169. This one was much louder
So
and
it
longer
farted.
than the one recorded in
maybe I
1997
was
by the
right.
National
Yeah.
Oceanic and Atmospheric
Every fart is an
Administration,
earthquake.
the one known as the Bloop. Back
Wait, the
then, it
Bloop?
was easy to brush
Ooh,
off
I
as
wanna
some
see the
ice
Bloop. I wanna
breaking
see the
off
Bloop
of a
next to the
continental
Leviathan.
shelf and scraping against the seafloor. It's not so easy to cover up anymore. These auditory emissions from SCP-169 are beginning to grow more frequent. More than that, increased seismic activity around the archipelago on the creature's back indicates that the rate at which the
Yep,
creature
we're
is
right.
breathing
We were
is
right.
also up. Typically,
an
the
island.
rate at which the creature takes what we are assuming to be a breath is once every 3 months.
Every
the rate
3
has
months?
increased to
Dude, did you guys just hear that?
That's it.
He takes a breath once every 3 months. That dude can hold his breath for a long time.
I think time moves slower when you're bigger.
Ah, maybe, but it's kind of like blue whales. Like they could breathe and then go down for I think like hours and hours and hours at a time. But this is next level, months at a time, and it doesn't have to breathe.
That's
every
insane.
3 weeks.
But now it's
for as
once every
long as
3
we've been
weeks.
monitoring
The most I've ever
SCP,
held my
it's
breath
waking
was
up
2
and it's been a
minutes.
drift along the southern Atlantic.
That's pretty
never
good, Adam.
moving more than a kilometer a week. That behavior is slowly beginning to change. It doesn't sound like much, but something that big, even moving just a fraction of that faster, means 100-foot tidal waves for the entire South American coastline.
Sounds like some good
We
surfing
fear the
material.
creature showing signs of waking up. If this is true, it could mean a cataclysm for the hundreds of nations around the world.
That's
a fact. That's a
Millions, hell,
fact.
even billions could be wiped off the face
One
of the earth
rollover
if this
and he's
thing
causing
just
a tidal
flips its
wave.
body too fast in the wrong direction. To put it to scale,
Adam suffers with
there
that
it is.
same problem.
There it is.
Are you kidding me?
Not now, Alex. It's a serious issue.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna talk about how when you cannonball in swimming pools, it kind of ruins the fun for everyone. That's all right. I'm sorry.
Not a
Let's
good
continue.
time. Not a good.
I don't like
this
how many
monster is
legs
about the
this guy
size
has.
of the caribou.
It is like tentacly, and I don't like that either.
The doctor
whole
then
thing
pulled
is
out a
just weird.
decanter of whiskey and poured himself a glass, swallowing the entire pour in one go. In an appalling breach of workplace professionalism. Seriously, an XK class end of the world scenario is still no excuse for drinking on the job. We're
Yeah,
talking
like-
about an extinction level event. A bona fide XK class end of the world
What do you
scenario.
even do to stop him, though? He's
1,000
too
foot
big.
tsunami wave stretching
You
as
maybe
far as the eye
feed
can
him?
see
You're
from
gonna
either
drop
end of
him
the
on that
horizon.
island.
The last time
Oh, that'll make him mad.
69 stirred, it created the Mediterranean. In fact, the legends of the biblical flood, Noah's Ark, the same story can be found in every civilization and culture around the world. So maybe they were onto something. It
So
is-
not only is this thing gargantuan in size, it is like super old too. It's like thousands of years old.
Oh, it's gotta be, yeah.
It might be millions.
Goodness, it could. Maybe it stems from like the dinosaurs. Maybe one of the dinosaurs got into like some nuclear material and then it got really big.
Think about it like this, Jack. Every time you breathe, that's like 1 second, right?
Yeah.
And this thing breathes once every 3 months. So to them, 3 months is 1 second to you.
So technically it's like 300 times bigger than even me.
Yes.
Maybe even more.
Exactly.
It is to this end I call you all here. to save the world from the next great flood.
That's a lot of
He
water.
paused for a moment as the room took in the gravity
There's the next
of the
big
situation.
flood. Next time he has to get it
The
back.
more
That guy
we
has
can
a
learn
stomach that
about
looks like Jupiter.
SCP-169, the better. And right now, we know squat. For one, we've never seen just how deep the body of the creature goes, or what's under it. The pressure has been too great for our current model submarines, until now. After reinforcing our
There we go,
Nemo
let's go.
1 deep-sea submersible with thaumaturgical
Human.
runes, the integrity of its hull has increased exponentially. Your mission will be to travel as far down and as close to the creature as possible.
So obviously, you know, this guy doesn't seem like he's really done that much damage in a long, long time. But if we had to kill it, how would you guys do it?
Probably drown it.
Yeah, when it come, you'd wait 3 months, and then when it came up, you dunk it.
Yeah.
Back down you go.
Yep.
See you in 3 months, bud.
I'm thinking, I mean, I don't really know how it breathes, if it has like a blowhole or something, but wherever the opening is, you send a little submarine in there with like some nukes, and then you blow it up from the inside out.
Or you just duct tape it. Like duct tape the blowhole.
What would happen to
Duct
the
tape
submarines?
fixes a lot of things.
pilots, Jack.
They would have to sacrifice themselves.
Are you nominating yourself right now?
If it breathes, then there
Adam
must
would
be
just cannonball
gills or
in there.
lungs. There must be some basic biological facts we need to understand if we're going to survive extinction. Our only recourse is to find a way to sedate the creature, and if that doesn't work, then God help us all.
That guy's stomach looks
Just
like a
12
giant
hours
chocolate chip
later,
cookie.
deep in the
It looks like
waters
the
of the
moon.
southern Atlantic,
Looks like
a
Jupiter.
massive submersible ship was diving down into the depths of the deep ocean, looking for
here
a
we
way
go.
to stop the
We're gonna
end of the
finally
world.
see the full
Agent
thing.
Just
They better not actually wake it up.
A member of Deep Feeders looked out of the massive viewing port as the ship slowly descended alongside the rocky trench that made up the body of SCP-169. Behind him was Dr. Hart, sporting a
Dude,
weapon
he
five-post
gets
shadow.
It's scarier and
Red
scarier.
nose
Rudolph.
from a night of drinking to
becoming
calm
Leviathan.
his nerves. The entire crew were silent in awe as the giant floodlights of the ship brushed over the barnacle-covered surfaces of the undersea mountain. They progressed slowly, reaching each milestone in depth with caution, knowing that one wrong move could destabilize the pressure in their ship. Just 6-1 murmured the word, "Scales." "What?" asked Dr. Hart. "I've been watching the patterns of the ridges as we sink down. They look like scales. Giant segments. It's hard to see at first because they're so covered in barnacles and sediment.
I don't
but
know.
I'm sure
There's actual
they're
scales?
giant armored scales. The way lobsters or crabs
oh.
have armored
I
exoskeletons. Interesting, the doctor said, scratching his chin.
So they gotta find a way to get
Arthropods
through
have
the scales.
What
segmented
happened to his
armored
chin?
bodies. This
I don't-
means
this
we
guy's
might be
going through
looking at some
something.
sort of evolutionary hybrid.
Yeah, the end of the
Some
world.
sort of aquatic
Yeah, that's
mammal,
true.
such as a whale or dolphin. But one that has developed armored segmented scales similar to that of a crustacean.
I wonder if he
The
started
doctor
off
crossed his
small and
arms
just
to
kept
think.
growing.
The closest thing we have on the fossil record of this magnitude is an armored fish from the Cretaceous period.
Oh,
But even
that's a
way too
Pokemon.
small to compare to this.
Coelacanth.
This thing has an entire ecosystem on its back.
How old is it?
Asked the agent. Well, now that you mention it, given the impossible age of the creature, an arthropod would make sense. Lobsters and other crustaceans don't age conventionally, you see. They are effectively immortal. In fact, they actually die
that a
because
fact?
they
What?
continue to grow until their bodies can't hold
Oh my
up their
gosh.
humongous size anymore.
Wait, how old is the oldest crab?
SCP-169.
I need to know that.
I didn't know that.
Jack, look that up.
The doctor
How
trailed
old
off,
is
thinking to
oldest
himself.
crab? Oldest crab is 100 million years old.
No, it's
No
not. No,
way.
it's not.
No way. No.
Alive today.
Nah, it's a fossil. Hold on.
Oh,
Hold on.
my
Let me see.
gosh, bro! I was about to say I need to meet Mufasa.
Okay, my top search result is scientists accidentally kill world's oldest animal at age 507.
507 years old.
Yeah, that's old. That's old. But it's not like
It was an ocean quahog. Hold on, I'm going on a tangent. It was a clam.
Clams are the same thing as a crab.
Still lost in thought,
crazy.
turned to walk to the back of the
500 years.
submersible as Zha's 6-1 followed. He said as much to himself as to the agent, "The creature is old. The geological survey conducted when SCP-169 was first discovered carbon dated the specimen to over 541 million years old.
Okay, that's a tiny bit older than the
That's
clam.
too old
Just-
for any
just a
living
touch.
being. The results had to be incorrect, and yet I checked them myself more than once. And numbers
The Leviathan
do not
might be the
lie.
cause of the
entity
Pangea.
predates our civilization. Hell, it predates complex life forms on this planet as we know it. From an evolutionary standpoint, it doesn't make any sense. The agent, confused, asked,
That was a T-Rex.
"Doctor, how could something so big even come into existence?"
Exactly.
Very
How
little
did
of
it
our
get this
planet
big?
is actually landmass. It's a wonder we call it Earth. Most of this planet
Ready
is
for this?
water.
Ready for this conspiracy?
Yeah.
Every single island on Earth is a different one of these. And this is actually like the smallest one.
Oh my goodness. So you're saying like Africa is just a giant Leviathan creature that we can't even tell. To us, it just looks like a bunch of land like just formed together, but it's really just Leviathans waiting to wake up.
Crazy.
And then they'll get up and then everybody will fall off.
Exactly.
If that's real, I would be so shocked. No, if I was in my
We aren't
90s,
looking
then I'd
at a
get
creature
smashed by that
that's
thing.
on our planet, Agent. We are on its planet.
Is that
Just
it right
then a
there?
flurry of alarms
Yeah,
and
that's it.
sensors
That's his
began to
face.
go off at the bridge
Yeah.
of the ship. The team scrambled to their stations, checking off monitors and shouting readings to each other. The ship's thermal sensors are detecting a massive rise in temperature, transmitting power to cooling systems. We have activity northwest of our location. Sonar has something big headed our way. We need to dive now. The ship lurched forward, nose
guy's
first,
all
as
business.
everyone on board held onto their seats, the
guy's-
restraints keeping them from falling
crazy.
forward.
I think he
Just
needs, like,
outside
backup
of the
or something.
viewport,
I would
Dr. Hart could
sacrifice him
see
to
an
the Leviathan.
enormous scaled appendage moving fast in their location.
my
We
God.
need to steer the ship clear of the Talons. Revert all power to the thrusters. Get us out of the way! The doctor yelled. Don't you think I'm doing that? The captain shouted.
For real.
The ship
Give him
jolted
some slack.
sideways and downwards as
guy's
an
not trying
immense
to die.
wave of pressure came
what's
over
that?
the submersible, putting 6
a fresh
Gs
wound.
of force on its
Is it?
object.
That's where they get in.
Just 6-1 yelped out of fear as the ship came
God.
close to
Look at
crashing
that,
into
look
what
at that.
appeared to be
Wait,
the edge
those
of a
are gills.
titanic talon,
Oh, no.
the size of the Empire State Building. Following the encounter, the part of the ship bordering the reinforced glass of the viewing port began to glow
I would
bright
pee myself
red.
so much.
It's boiling the water around us! One of the crew members cried out.
Ow.
It's not boiling anything. It's just cavitation due to the pressure reduction in the water. The updated runes on the ship's hull should keep us safe. We just need to cool our heads. Stay focused on the mission, bottom feeders. After several moments of holding their breaths, the crew of Nemo 1 began to relax as their pace returned to a slow descent along the side of the underwater
How are they not
behemoth.
freaking out?
Before long, the vessel
What
was
is their
no longer
mission?
traveling straight down, but
I think
starting
just to
to
learn
curve
about it.
under the creature,
Yeah, they're doing
traveling
experiments on it,
north
Jack.
towards the theoretical head of SCP-169.
They have to go inside of it to learn more
After
about
several
it.
I think
hours,
they're about to.
the ship came upon giant fissures in the rocky exterior of the creature. These massive vent-like structures appeared stiff, but slowly
They're
they
gills.
opened and closed over the span
Yeah,
of
yeah.
weeks.
What does this thing even eat?
These
I
were the
said
respiratory
that.
organs of the organism.
There's little bubbles
2
coming out.
miles underneath the surface of the ocean,
Or it's heating the
crew
ocean.
carefully began entering the smaller pod-like submersibles that detach from
Oh,
the
they're
main
gonna
ship.
go inside.
Just 6-1 entered his pod and strapped
Let's
on
go,
the
I'm
haptic
actually hyped.
gloves that would give him control of the pod's robotic arms. He and a team of 3
Get in
other
there.
volunteers had agreed to undergo the dangerous mission of attaching artificial chemical emission
What?
machines that could be programmed to release anesthetic gas into SCP-169's
Oh.
respiratory system on
So if
command
this
remotely.
thing goes
The emission
berserk
machines could
and
be
starts to
refilled
kill everybody, they
manually
could shut it
whenever
down.
The contents ran out. It was an
Genius.
ingenious
Genius.
solution Dr. Hart came up with when thinking
You would
of
think
his
the
time
Leviathan would
studying
be way
sharks
smarter than
as
that
a
now, 'cause it's
marine
been around for
biologist.
millions and millions
They
and
would
millions
tag
of
the
years.
fins of sharks.
It's had
by
all that time to
capturing
learn.
and bringing the
too busy
specimens on the
sleeping.
deck of their boat.
But so did that clam,
From there,
Adam,
the
and
scientists
that
would
clam
drill a
died.
radio frequency emitter onto the fin of the shark. When he had first seen this practice as a young college student, Dr. Hart was afraid the process was harming the shark, but later he learned it was designed in a way to not be harmful to the specimen, and eventually the tag would fall off after enough data on the shark's movement was collected. Except these
We gotta
tags
do that with
would
Alec.
not be falling off, he thought.
There's not much movement.
That'd be a
For the
dangerous
sake
game.
of all mankind, this had to work. The doctor pressed a button on the receiver of the radio.
Is it just
and
me or
spoke.
is he getting bigger?
Just 6-1, what's your status? Pressure's
stress
holding, all
makes you
signs
gain
look good. Just 6-2, pressure's holding, all good. Just 6-3, all clear, Captain. Just 6-4.
Good luck,
There was
soldiers.
silence. Just 6-4, do you copy?
I'm getting worried
All clear,
about
Doc.
this.
Sorry,
Yeah, I
my
have a
mic was
feeling this is
muted.
gonna go
En
really
route
bad.
and ready to
I'm
do
kinda
this
scared.
thing. Dr. Hart sighed in relief and slowly reclined in his chair, watching
think-
the pods move closer.
I think that those gills, whatever they're gonna suck these people into the Leviathan. He's gonna eat them.
Like they're not ready for the suck
Yeah,
power.
they don't actually know what that thing is.
That's a good point. I like that.
Alec, can you give us a demonstration of what might happen?
You see, this little thingy is the ship. These are the gills. It's sneaking in, sneaking in.
Ooh, oh.
Wait. What is that?
Oh, does it eat it? It eats it after?
You did not say what your mouth was. What's your mouth?
No,
Are you hungry?
I just got hungry, guys. I'm really hungry. I can't stop thinking
The
about
large
food.
openings on SCP-169's side. One by one, the robotic arms used underwater torches to drill into the thick, rock-like
How does that not hurt?
exoskeleton
It's
of
gonna
the
wake it
creature,
up.
It's gonna be genius
screwing
if it
in
actually works
complex
out.
million-dollar equipment that was both waterproof and could withstand the immense pressure.
I guess technically, Alec, these ships, even though they look big to us, they're so tiny compared to the size of this creature that it's basically like a little mosquito on you. Like, yeah, you wouldn't even really feel it until it's already too late and it stung you.
To depth under the
terrified
ocean.
of bees.
As the minutes turned to hours, Dr.
said
Hart
bees?
couldn't help but feel anxiety for the safety of his crew and the success of the mission. But before long, the
kinda
pods
working.
began to return
Yeah,
one
it's
by one
working.
to the mother.
There we go.
That
Look
was
at that.
easy.
Good job,
completing
boys.
The segment
What
of
were we
work
so worried of?
with which they were tasked. The last pod still
Dying.
working was Zhe 6-1,
Oh, no,
whose
there's one
robotic arm was in the process of rotating a large industrial-sized screw.
There we go.
Zhe 6-1 had all but finished.
He did.
When suddenly a low
Ready,
rumble
watch, he's about
could
to
be
get
felt
sucked up.
shaking
He
the larger
did.
submersible. Dr. Hart's voice came crackling over the radio. Get back to the ship now! Zhe 6-1, wrapped in deep focus on his task, replied, I'm just about finished, just packing up my tool belt. Leave it.
Never be the
Return
last
to the
one.
ship
Never
now.
be the last
That's an
one.
order. Jesus, what's wrong? It's not like this is the end of the world, said the agent, chuckling over his radio. An
Yes, it
ear-piercing
is.
echo
It
sent
literally could be.
shockwaves through the depths of
Oh,
the
here we
ocean
go. They
around
woke
the
him up.
submersible. The waves rumbled with the sound
This
of
literally is the end of the world.
169's
Did he wake
voice,
up?
similar to the sound of a large
Oh
Okay,
my
put him to sleep.
gosh.
Put him to sleep now.
No.
The sound
They're
sent
so
all the crew
dumb.
members falling to the floor.
These guys literally were supposed to secure, contain, and protect, and they did the opposite of that.
They're worse off now than if they would have done nothing.
They
They
poked the
should've just
bear.
done nothing.
They poked the bear. Should never poke the bear.
Gosh,
This is why I never
Falling to
trust
the
big
floor
government.
As the ship experienced severe damage from the burst of pressure, slightly cracking the glass viewport.
Oh, they're all dead.
And sending smoke flooding
They
into the
dead.
small bridge of the ship. Gas masks! Shouted Dr. Hart as they all donned breathing apparatus. SCP-169 is
no.
waking up. Begin activation of the chemical emission machines. We
have to
need
use
to
it right
sedate
away.
it now. The Leviathan is waking up. We need to stop it, shouted Dr. Hart. Just then, he looked back and noticed Zhe 6-1's pod was gone. Zhe 6-1, what's your position? Zhe 6-1, where are you? Sir, sonar has him drifting off deeper into the ocean behind us. He must have gotten knocked off SCP-169 by the shockwave.
I wanna see those
But
people on the
Dr. Hart
island.
wouldn't
They're
have
probably
it.
freaking
He
out
didn't
right
want
now.
any more blood on his hands. Reverse thrusters, turn us around and get to him. We're not losing anyone. But the breach in the hull! It'll hold. That's what the runes are for. The outside of the submersible began to glow a slight
Whoa.
blue as the ship's system started
heck?
to come
Why are
back
they glowing?
online to full capacity.
I don't know.
And alarm systems started to turn off and report normal pressure readings. Before long, the Nemo 1 had caught up to Zhe 6-1's pod and retrieved the agent. But
Wait, Jack,
Oh,
what's
wow,
that?
he's dead.
What's that thing in the water that glows up?
Anglerfish.
Bioluminescent.
Bioluminescent. I think this thing is secreting bioluminescent. That's my
It could
theory.
be.
That's my
I
theory.
like your theory, Adam.
I'm just-
It
you
very
know-
well could be right.
Yeah, Alec lost 20% of his IQ in the last video, so he can't think. This guy's
knocked
dead.
unconscious by the shockwave.
He's
Once
definitely
the
dead.
agent was back on the main
I
ship,
feel so bad
the
for that
doctor
guy. He
turned
was just trying to do his
attention back
job.
To the monitors,
like,
making
"What's
sure
gonna happen?
the
The world's gonna
installations
end."
they drilled
He was
into the
joking
creature
about it.
were functional.
His world ended.
Slowly, the machines came online to
Oh,
full
it
power,
worked.
There we go.
and the speed at which SCP-169 had been moving
Night-night,
began to
big
slow
guy.
ever so slightly.
Wait.
The team all
But hold on, wait, isn't there like, I don't know if this is like something that I missed, but doesn't it only breathe like once every 3 weeks?
Yeah, I'm confused about that as well. I don't know how it has gills. I thought it breathed through like a blowhole, but I guess not.
Or
I
like
don't-
even still, if it's breathing through gills, then it would have to breathe constantly for this thing to actually work.
unless they're just like shoving it in there, you know? They're just like shoving this gas inside
Yes, they're just squirting it all inside.
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
the viewport in silence as a steady stream of anesthetic gas was pumped into the respiratory system of the gigantic living myth in front of them. After a few moments of waiting, the doctor spoke. I think it worked, he said with a smile.
I don't think it's
The
gonna
crew
work.
erupted
I
in
don't
cheers
think it's gonna work.
as they radioed control
make him
back up
angry.
on land that the mission had been a success.
No.
The message quickly
Okay,
reached
that's
the
good.
O5 Council, where a red alert status was de-escalated, and the O5 members withdrew from their plan of leaving the current Earth for that of an alternate universe.
about to leave
The whole
the
crew
Earth? What the
began to
heck?
sing and
Oh my
celebrate
gosh.
the prevention of the
They
end
were
of the
about to
world,
pack up their bags
as
and be
Dr.
like, "All
Hart
right, bet, we
simply stood in
out."
front of
They're
the
literally about to
massive
leave
viewport,
mankind.
watching the mountainous specimen slowly grow smaller in the distance as the submersible began ascending back to the world.
Aw, he's happy
Zhe
now.
6-1 came over to
Finally.
congratulate him, patting him on the back. We did it!
He deserves
said.
that.
Loosen up! The doctor managed to laugh along in acknowledgement.
I feel happy
That we
for that
did,
guy.
he said in relief. That we
Oh,
did.
gosh.
The two watched the deep blue ocean.
Was that them
in
leaving, or was that the
silence,
Leviathan
taking in the
leaving?
vastness of the sea?
That was them.
Perhaps this
Oh.
would not be the end of
Oh,
it.
that was
But
scary.
that
Wow,
day,
this was a
they
success.
had done what the
How about
SCP
that?
The Leviathan looks
Foundation
much
did.
smaller from
believe
that
that.
far away.
Kick that apocalyptic can a few miles down the
2,000
road.
kilometers my booty.
Well, boys, yeah, that was one of the first missions ever where it went successfully, there was no casualties, and everybody's happy.
Shout out SCP-169.
Yeah, maybe he's just a good guy all along. Today we're reacting to SCP-099, which is one of the scariest SCP creatures in the entire universe, also known as the Tickle Monster. We're gonna find out his origins and how he became such a tickle master. If you don't leave a like on this video right now, he will get you and he will tickle you.
Almost all cross-testing to kill or pacify SCP-682 had failed miserably. If you haven't seen it, go watch our video on the legendary hard-to-kill reptile to see just
saw
how
that one.
powerful and terrifying this creature is. It faced the Gate Guardian, an SCP with a flaming sword hotter than the sun, capable of tearing your atoms to shreds, and came out fine. In its face-off
Adam,
with the
you got torn to
horrifying
shreds.
SCP-096, also known as the Shy Guy, it broke the Shy Guy's mind and reduced it to gibbering despair. Even SCPs with supposedly unlimited powers simply refused to engage the beast in combat.
Wow.
So, when it was proposed that they test 682 with SCP-999, a creature known among Foundation staff as the Tickle Monster, the idea was considered laughable. 682 had been burned, suffocated, cut up, incinerated, and growled in the faces of the gods. How could this so-called Tickle Monster ever hope to survive an encounter, let alone
We're
win a
sleeping
fight?
on the Tickle Monster.
Some even believe that
So wait, boys, why do you think that the Tickle Monster is something that could go up against one of the hardest to destroy SCPs ever?
Well, from what I can tell, the Tickle Monster looks like a very cuddly, friendly being. So maybe it convinces all other things that it's actually super happy and jolly and a good dude. And then out of nowhere, from the depths of evil, destroyed. Easy peasy.
Wow, he pretty much crawled into my brain and pulled out all that information because that's exactly what I thought.
You guys are close.
even believe
but
that this was
not
the
that
last
close.
we'd see of
We'll find out.
SCP-999.
Comment down below what
But
you
what
think.
makes this story truly remarkable is that that isn't how this played out. As you'll soon discover, SCP-999 is an amazing and unique SCP in and of itself. But its secret origins and its interactions with some other prominent figures in the SCP universe are what make this humble,
It's Shy
slimy
Guy!
creature beyond
There's no way
extraordinary.
the Tickle Monster is beating all
Prepare
these
yourself for
great
the
SCPs.
heartwarming, yes, you heard that right, the heartwarming story of SCP-999.
I don't think it's actually a heartwarming story. I think that he is convincing everyone that it is a heartwarming story.
For some
Alec
reason,
will not be tricked.
For some reason, the Tickle Monster reminds me of like Ditto from Pokemon. I feel like he's gonna be able to transform into anything.
Could be, could be. See, SCPs are not only very dangerous, they're not only very frightening, but they're very deceiving as well. And I think that this might be the most deceivish Pokemon SCP of all time.
Is the Tickle Monster in your room right now? I feel like he's getting you.
Alec, you might be onto something here, but I will say, I've only shown you boys the bad SCPs, the scary SCPs, but there's another side to SCPs that you haven't seen yet.
Well, let's find out.
Several highly trained agents on 682 Detail placed 999 into the immortal lizard cell.
He's always
Compared to the
smiling.
giant
Look at him.
reptilian sitting across from it, 999 wasn't much to
Hello!
look at. It's a large orange amorphous blob of anomalous slime. Weighing in
Mini
at
slime, it
around
looks like.
120 pounds, SCP-999 was nothing compared to the monstrosity it was supposed to face.
Wow.
While its weight has in the past caused minor injuries to some of its human handlers, it has never caused serious or long-lasting damage of any kind to a living thing. Even its diet consists only of candy and sweets,
the heck?
with a particular preference for M&Ms
This
and
is
Necco
awesome.
wafers. It
I wanna be
consumes
Tickle
these
Monster.
treats through the cell membrane of its slimy body, much like an amoeba. This extremely stretchy membrane means the creature is highly malleable, including the ability to stretch and flatten itself out to a mere 2 centimeters thick.
Wow.
At rest, the creature takes a dome-like shape around 2 meters wide and 1 meter in height.
This
The
reminds
closest
me of,
things
like,
the
Alex'
creature has to
eyeline
limbs
up.
are prehensile pseudopods. Those are the arm-like projections normally seen on single-celled organisms, of which it has at least 3.
Oh my
The more you
gosh.
hear about this utterly harmless creature, the more that matching it up with the pure embodiment of absolute hatred known as SCP-682 feels downright cruel. In absolute contrast to the misanthropic attitudes of the reptile, 999 loves humans. It has a playful dog-like.
There's something else they're not telling us about SCP-099, the tickle monster. There's a dark side, and we're about to find out what it is.
Why do you think that, Adam? It's just a cute, cuddly little orange ball.
No. It's never like that.
That's all it is.
No, it's not, Jack, and you know it. You know it. You're not
Sometimes,
telling
Adam,
us
you
something.
Just gotta believe.
You know.
You just gotta believe in something, Adam. You gotta believe that things can be good. The world is all filled with sunshines and butterflies and rainbows.
No!
They say that the people with the most amount of love have the most amount of hate as well. So maybe this guy has a little trigger in him that
gosh.
if you flick that trigger, boom, he goes nightmare mode and just destroys everything. That's what I think.
Yeah, we know.
Much like an overexcited puppy when approached, 999 will react with extreme joy and slither towards the nearest person in order to interact. It will leap onto them, using 2 of its 3 prehensile pseudopods to hug the person, while the third nuzzles the person's face, emitting
what?
high-pitched cooing and gurgling noises throughout. The creature is
probably
apparently present
gross.
in every
So
conceivable
slimy.
fashion, as even its odor has been reported to smell just like the favorite scent of whoever is smelling it. Examples have
Adam, what would it smell like for you?
Candies and sunshine.
Alec?
Freshly baked donuts. That's my favorite thing ever.
Mine smells like Alec's mom.
Oh, wait. Can I change my answer?
Yes.
Examples have included chocolate, fresh laundry, bacon, roses, and Play-Doh.
Play-Doh.
It's almost impossible to oversell
who says
just how
Play-Doh? Play-Doh
beloved
does
and
not smell
benevolent
good.
this strange
Oh, yeah,
creature
that
is.
smells awful.
It's one of the
Definitely
rare
need that.
sapient SCPs to earn the Safe class, and it's allowed to roam freely around its facility at all times, apart from a 1-hour bedtime period between 8 and 9 p.m. In the rare
trust it.
instances that 999 has caused harm to a worker at the facility, it immediately began to back away and contract its body while whimpering in a kind of dog-like apology. The closest the Foundation has ever come to having a real incident with the creature was the time someone accidentally fed it a can of caffeinated cola, causing it to become hyper for an hour before becoming visibly queasy. You'll be relieved to know that it's since made a
Got
full
a sugar
recovery.
rush.
But what would happen
Something is
when this
creepy about
whimsical
this, I don't
creature
know.
is forced to go toe-to-toe with the Foundation's most ill-tempered monster?
It would get
The
destroyed.
employees observing the test watched in suspense as 999 began to enthusiastically slither towards
It
682.
should not be a close battle at all.
I think that it's kind of like SpongeBob, where if you punch it really hard because it's like jello-y, it doesn't actually take any damage. So it's like impossible to actually hurt.
So you're saying like they're both invincible and impervious to all damage?
Yes, impervious.
How
yes.
do you win and how do you lose? I don't, like...
Adam, it's not all about winning and losing sometimes, okay? It's just about becoming friends and learning more about the other person.
Exactly. That's why it's a tickle monster. Maybe it just tickles you to death because sometimes I laugh so hard I can't breathe and maybe that's what it does.
Exactly. A little laughter cures everything.
It's no surprise that after being tortured and almost killed hundreds of times during testing, 682 had grown jaded to the cross tests it was regularly subjected to. When it saw this strange orange blob squelching across the ground towards it, it sighed and groaned, expecting the worst. "What is that?" the creature asked of its gelatinous guest.
Sounds like Batman.
SCP-999 began jumping up and down in front of 682
Yo.
like an excited puppy, creating a
I'd be
high-pitched
so
squealing
confused
noise.
if I was at SCP.
Just as it regarded all living things, 682 thought the creature bouncing around before it was disgusting and hardly worth the effort to destroy. Was the Foundation even trying anymore? With a single vicious stomp, 682 flattened the friendly creature beneath one of its feet. Observers were prepared to charge in and liberate 999 from under 682's claws. But then something truly unexpected happened. The expression on 682's
Something crazy.
acid-eaten face began to slowly change.
It's
It
gonna
was
tickle him.
beginning
He's like he's about to
smile.
laugh.
Observers
Yeah!
recorded a noise what they
It's
thought
gonna
could have been a
work.
chuckle as the creature growled
What?
and said, "What is this?
He's tickling his hand.
Feel good."
Hey, yo! Yo, tickle monster, what are you
Stunned
doing?
at what was happening, 999 began to slither and crawl up from between
Oh my
682's
God.
toes.
Step monster,
Reformed
chill.
on its scaly leg and slithered up along its side.
Whoa!
There it
It's going
began
all the way
to
to its
nuzzle like it
face.
had
They're
never
bestest
nuzzled
buds.
before.
This guy's
The
crazy.
results spoke for themselves. 682 was grinning and chuckling, repeating a phrase that the Foundation never would have imagined coming from 682. Feel so happy.
What?
Happy.
So this is just a little ball of sunshine.
Happy.
Pretty much.
Just when you thought
there's something else. There's
SCP-999
something
couldn't
else.
possibly be more adorable, you learn about its greatest power, bringing joy. Anyone and anything that comes
I
into
don't buy
contact
it.
with the creature, even in passing, will experience a kind of mild euphoria. As one's contact with the creature is prolonged, this overwhelming
what
sense
is
of joy
going on?
increases and continues long after you've separated from it.
It can't be
Prolonged
this good
contact
all
has
the time.
completely cured depression, anxiety,
It is,
and
Adam.
PTSD, along with a number of other conditions.
something they're not
including
telling
rage
us,
and
I know it.
antisocial personality disorders. Serial killers practically become saints after coming into prolonged contact with 999.
What?
And in
Wow.
that moment, 682 was no exception.
This thing is
And
awesome.
there truly does not appear to be no exceptions. While causing happiness and joy isn't a dangerous weapon, when it comes to SCP-999, it is an extremely powerful one. And what's more, SCP-999 also appears to have an innate sense for those who need its help most.
It's like one of those
With a
therapy
particular
dogs.
affection for the hurt and the
Exactly.
unhappy. The creature appears to be a true altruist on a
invincible.
fundamental level, even risking its own safety to help humans during dangerous containment breaches.
He's never
In
not
one
smiled.
dramatic instance, 999 leaped into the air to
Whoa.
block a bullet from making contact with a member of staff.
Let's go.
As a result, the creature is pretty much universally loved by all members of Foundation
Alex, do
staff.
you love it?
It's the one
I think I
SCP
do.
who has
I'm
never
starting to
made
love
It's
it.
making me happy.
Back
I
in
know.
SCP-682's containment cell, the beast was still
if it's-
smiling and
what-
laughing
what even
as
is it made
999
out of?
rubbed against its neck.
That's what I'm
It was an
curious
event
about.
so
Honey?
strange, so unprecedented,
something
that the
nasty,
observers in attendance felt like they were hallucinating. For a few minutes, the monster kept
mind
dreamily
control.
repeating the word, happy. But then, suddenly, the creature began to enter a fit of uncontrollable, booming laughter. It rolled onto its back, slamming its huge tail against
Whoa,
the door.
what
It
the
had
heck?
just fallen victim to one of
I wonder if it
999's
can slither
favorite
into its ear and
pastimes,
take over its brain.
tickle fights. Hence how
Tickle
it
fights.
earned
It
its
wants to
tickle
take
monster
over.
nickname among
It
staff.
just wants to tickle.
I
The
don't
tickle
know,
fight
Jack.
continued until
That's how it
682
starts.
appeared
It just
to
wants
tire
to-
and fall
It
asleep.
always starts with a tickle
smile
fight,
still on
and then
its
it
face.
gets dirty
After
and
15
bad.
minutes of inactivity, 2 D-Class personnel were commanded to enter and retrieve SCP-999 from the containment cell. They did so successfully, but as soon as 999 was removed, 682 roused from its slumber and released a powerful psychic attack from its entire body while laughing maniacally. It rendered all personnel within a certain distance incapacitated.
tickle monster give that
as
thing
they
powers?
collapsed in fits of
Ah,
laughter, allowing
got me.
682 to escape and
Jack.
go on a violent rampage.
Wake up, Jack.
However, in spite of this, 999 showed no fear and helped save some of the bystanders as security officers subdued and recaptured 682. And even after all of this, 999 showed no hard feelings towards 682 and indicated a desire to play again.
He's the perfect
It's a creature whose
SCP.
capacity for love is
He's
so
my new
limitless
friend.
that it's practically
I love
immune
him.
to fear. Which is all well and good, because the true enemy that 999 is destined to face is infinitely more powerful and terrifying than 682 could ever hope to be.
Isn't that the most
What is
powerful
this
thing in the
monster?
universe?
And why should 999 have
Is
to
it the
face
devil
someday?
himself?
The answers
SCP
to
devil?
these questions all lie in the true origins of SCP-999.
Okay, finally.
Available only to those with level 5 clearance and beyond.
We're getting into the juice.
It's a perfect example of how something good can come from the darkest places. There
is
would
what
be
I was
no
talking about.
SCP-999 without
something evil to him. There's an evil
SCP-231-7.
side.
SCP-231 was a collection of 7 girls, all impregnated.
Okay, before they get into this, my prediction is that SCP-999, also known as the Tickle Monster, is feces from SCP-231. Now, hear me out. Look at its shape. What does it look like? It looks like a turd. It probably smells like a turd.
You don't even know what the next SCP that you're talking about even is. How do you know that it can poop?
It said that it smelled good. Why do you think that it smells like a turd? Are you into that, or
Well,
what do
some
you mean?
poop smells good. First off. Second off, these 9 moms are about to impregnate some sort of Power Ranger combined force.
7, Adam. 7.
7. That's what I said. Just watch the video and watch me prove you guys all wrong. Just watch.
by
I don't
a
even know what
ritual
your
perform-
point was,
There
but
would be
okay.
no SCP-999 without SCP-231-7. SCP-231 was a collection of 7 girls, all impregnated by horrific nightmares in a ritual performed by a cult known as the Children of the
Yep.
Scarlet King.
Yep.
Sounds horrible.
Each of these girls, over the years that followed, gave birth to some of the most horrific monsters imaginable.
All gingers.
One of which, according to some, was SCP-682. These beings were manifested by the Scarlet King, a powerful interdimensional nightmare god, believed to be behind a great deal of the darkness and horror
he has
present
a tongue.
within R and many other dimensions. Foundation higher-ups have declared the Scarlet King to be the greatest existing threat to the multiverse at large. And SCP-231 was his latest direct interaction with our universe.
Oh, okay.
The only surviving member of SCP-231, SCP-231-7, gave birth in secret. But she didn't give birth to a monster. She gave birth to SCP-999.
So do you guys think that because it came from the Scarlet King, that this is actually an evil monster? Just like messing with the brains of everything around it.
Oh, that's a good theory, Jack.
I think this is actually one of the most evil SCPs ever.
I was kind of right, because he did kind of get pooped out. Just,
Right, yeah.
Kinda.
Right, yeah, no, but no, so you don't know exactly what its motives are. It seems all good and dandy. It just wants to be friends with you and make you happy. But why does it want to make you happy?
You never should trust anyone that's always smiling. They always have something that they're hiding behind their face.
A being of pure goodness. That's right. The nicest, kindest, cuddliest SCP of all is the
Alex,
direct
stop
descendant of a being that's essentially the dark god of all evil. Feel free to take a moment to absorb that.
How does that
It's
even
actually
happen?
half
The
human.
creature even healed the girl who birthed it and allowed her to return to normal life with her family once more. From its first moments, SCP-099 was making positive changes to the world around it. And according to ancient texts from a Scarlet King-aligned culture known as the Deivas, SCP-099 is still very much in its infancy, yet it already has the power to pacify its monstrous
So
siblings
it's
like
only
the
a baby
aforementioned
still.
I think it's gonna try to
682.
take over the planet.
It's believed, according to
Interesting.
some prophecies and Foundation theories, that the power of SCP-099 will grow exponentially.
Yo!
What the heck?
Go ahead,
Why does
SCP.
this matter? Well, it's believed by some that one day, 999 will grow powerful enough to overthrow not only its own monstrous siblings, but the thought to be
Oh.
unstoppable Scarlet King himself.
Wow.
Not through
Interesting.
violence
so it's
or
like
hate,
Zeus and Kronos.
but through the pure force of happiness
Jack,
and
that's
love
perfect.
burning out the darkness and purifying the corrupted. While the humble SCP-999 rarely outshines its frightening competitors, to those truly in the know, 999 is one of the most powerful and valuable SCPs in existence.
And he's so squishy.
And may be the greatest asset in the Foundation's arsenal for the war against dangerous anomalous activity. After all, what could strike more fear into their hearts than the knowledge that it might be love rather than firepower that finally dethrones the Scarlet King? And for the knowledge
No
that
way
it may
that would
one
work.
day save everything we know from a fate so much worse than
Don't eat
death,
it. Don't eat
with
the
nothing
planet.
but affection for everyone and everything, it's worth offering thanks to the little orange blob, or at least an extra pack of M&Ms before bedtime.
And boys, that is the story of the most powerful SCP to ever exist.
So all SCPs aren't that bad. I thought they were
No.
evil. Wow.
no,
Okay.
that is
okay.
a nice SCP.
I don't know. I'm still suspicious. I'm still very suspicious of that thing.
Today, me and the boys are going to be reacting to one of the most misunderstood SCPs to ever exist.
The storm wrenches. The yawning sound of metal buckling and ripping can barely be heard over the explosive
This is my
waves.
worst nightmare.
Crew members
No,
pour
Alec,
out
trust
of
me,
the
this is going to be
fragmented
your
ship,
favorite
washed away
SCP
with the
of all
water,
time.
like
I can't tell you why,
ants in a
though.
flooding nest. The deck lurches and tips upwards into the air. A wave crashes against it, almost knocking the sailor off the railing.
would be
but
terrible.
he clings on for dear life. Soaked through, shivering violently,
gosh.
and feeling the dreaded exhaustion creeping into his limbs, he looks around helplessly as his crewmates drown around him. Only one
Dude,
man
this is a
remains on the
nightmare.
deck with him. But the captain's usual steely confidence has gone.
Maybe the
Behind
SCP 's
man's
like a
bushy
good one,
beard
like the
and
tickle
grizzled
monster.
Skin, the
it's
sailor
gonna save
sees
them.
a little boy scared
Ooh, I
out
like
of his
that.
mind. The captain grabs the sailor by the scruff of the neck and hauls him close enough for them to shout over the sound of the seas around them. I saw her. The captain's rambling and ranting, repeating himself.
Saw who?
and
Captain's going
gesticulating
crazy. He
wildly
saw
at the
her.
seas around them.
Who?
The Naiad. I saw her in the water this morning.
What?
Our voyage was cursed from the start.
Oh,
She'd
okay.
never have left
SCP's
port.
bad.
She's in the
SCP's
water
bad.
now.
She's a
colossal
curse.
wave throws what is left of the boat
Oh
through
my
the air.
gosh, dude.
The railing slips through the sailor's fingers as he flies
We
high
don't really know the
between
size of
waves.
this thing.
For a
Oh,
moment,
no.
The world stands
For all we know, the SCP could be the entire tidal wave. We have no idea right now.
Is this one of those characters that like sings to sailors and then like hypnotizes them, or
think that's a mermaid.
That's what I think it is.
It could be. It could be. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but Alec, you might be on the right track.
You're right, Alec.
Yeah.
Seems like you got
I'm
hit by a
excited.
wave
Jack
in your
said,
brain.
well, Jack said this could be my favorite SCP. I'm excited.
I guess we'll find out why.
So,
Still,
yeah.
it's like he's a gull hovering in place, surveying the carnage beneath him. And there in the water,
Oh!
what looks
I
like
saw something. I saw something. I saw
But the
something.
world isn't standing still. He hurtles back towards the ocean
I'm
and
locked in.
slams into it hard enough to
This
knock
could
the
be
air
GG's.
clean out of his lungs. Icy water tugs at him,
Oh.
pulling him down.
no, he's going
that's
down.
deeper
awful.
and
Getting
deeper,
pulled down to the
colder
bottom.
and colder.
I'd be scared
Like
of sharks.
arms
Oh!
wrapping around him,
What is that?
dragging
Oh
him.
God.
The sailor wakes with a start. Water laps
she
at his
gone?
face.
Is it fake?
What
That
were
looks like
once
the Manhattan
hulking waves
Project.
are now little more than ripples. He spits out a
she
mouthful
saved
of
him.
sand and shakes his head. His body's trembling violently.
Wait, we don't
from the
know
cold,
yet.
But the warm glow of the sun on his back is already doing its best
This
to
could
help
be
him.
like her feeding ground or
How
something.
on earth had he survived that? There are groans all around him.
Nah,
Dotted
this is
along
good.
the beach
Wow.
are his
All
fellow
of them got
fishermen.
saved.
He hasn't got the energy
I don't
to
think
count
so.
them, but it doesn't look like all of them. Just ahead of him, further up the beach, sits the captain.
See? See what I'm talking about?
Rocking back and forth,
He's scared.
trembling, the captain noiselessly points a finger out to sea. Using what little energy he has left,
This is
the sailor
bad.
rolls onto his back to
That's
see
good,
the
they're
silhouette
alive.
of
Oh!
a woman standing there on the water. No, not a silhouette. The morning sunlight is shining straight through her, as if
It's
she's
her!
made of nothing
Where'd
but
Alec
water.
go?
It's
She
the
steps
Alec just
SCP.
passed out.
across the surface of the water.
We
walking
lost
towards
Alec.
the coughing
I
fishermen
knew
who
Alec
have
would
all
like
seen
this
her by now.
SCP.
There's a
I think you just
delicacy
killed
to how
Alec.
she walks, tiptoeing gently on the rippling water, as if scared of disturbing it even
Oh
slightly.
my gosh.
The light dances and glitters on her skin like it does
She
across
saved
the
them
ocean.
all.
Oh my
No,
god.
not skin. She really is made of water. Every inch of her is composed entirely of what looks like the purest, cleanest water the sailor has ever seen. Was it her? The
This
arms that he felt
SCP
dragging him through the
rocks!
She saved everybody.
Did she
Isn't that
save him?
sweet?
Did she save all of them?
Wait, she's the best.
There's the
Water
best
nymph waits
SCP
with the men
ever!
Until the ambulances arrive.
Wait.
She walks across
Guys,
the
we gotta
sand,
get a
going
boat.
between them. Every few minutes, she dips her toes back in the sea and takes what looks like a deep breath, even though she has no lungs to fill.
I did not know SCPs could look like this. Like, I thought SCPs were scary, terrifying, makes you want to cry at night in horror. But
Guys, hear me out.
Exactly.
my mind's opening up to the SCP universe.
Alec is about to have the craziest hear me out of all time. Go ahead.
Let's invest in a giant boat and sail off in the sea.
Okay, Alec,
the
I see where you're
biggest
going with
hurricane
this.
ever.
Alec, we're gonna need to reel you back in. I'm gonna hit you with the fishing line. I'm gonna reel you back in here, okay? Alec, I get what you're saying, but they just went through a horrific experience. They almost died. What if she doesn't save us?
and we still know.
Well, she did save them.
But what if she doesn't save us?
Yeah, we don't know if she's evil or not yet. We don't know if she's gonna do something weird to these guys.
I'm willing to risk
You
it.
don't know yet. You don't know.
She can do something weird. I don't care.
Oh my gosh, guys. Comment down below if you trust this
Offering
SCP.
noiseless
That is a
comfort.
tall glass
Come
of
on,
water.
guys.
Abandoned house just up from the beach. What looks like the mansion of a former millionaire. In apparent fascination, the nymph keeps going over to examine.
Oh, she
the
goes
ornate
right to the
fountain
money,
in
of course.
courtyard. Even in a state
She'll
of
love
disrepair,
you, Alec.
the fountain.
Not
is stunning.
really.
She lowers herself gently into the water and disappears under the surface,
Huh.
just as the first
That's
ambulance
interesting.
rounds the corner.
Maybe she doesn't
As
want to
the
be seen by
paramedics wrap
anybody.
the foil blanket around the sailor and walk him to the vehicle, he catches the nymph poking her head out of the surface of the fountain's water.
That's kind of
He's not
creepy.
the only one to see.
Oh no.
Tucked just out of sight near the tree line is
That's
a
not good.
nondescript black sedan
CIA.
with a group of men sitting inside.
Those guys are definitely gonna try and capture her and like bring her back to the laboratory to do tests and experiments.
Yeah, I'm always surprised about how like the SCP Foundation, how do they even know where to be at the right time? It's pretty impressive.
Stories. They probably heard stories. You know.
If you heard stories, would you show up like this?
Do you remember in the beginning the guy talked about how he saw a lady in the water? So it was a known thing, right?
I guess so, yeah.
Because he was like, oh, it's a curse. So I'm sure they've been looking around that area for a while.
It could be.
One of them takes a photograph of the water woman in the fountain, while another talks urgently over the phone. The sailor has barely been in the back of the ambulance for 2 minutes before one of the men from the car approaches him. The man holds an expensive-looking watch in his hand.
That kind of looks like Shy
Excuse
Guy.
me, sir, does this belong to you? The sailor sits up suspiciously. He's about to open his mouth to refute the man when the needle penetrates his thigh,
Hey,
and
yo.
the amnestic fills his bloodstream.
Yo!
By the time
What's
the
going
sailor
on?
What are they
arrives
doing?
at the hospital, all his memories of the previous 24 hours
They're
have
like
slipped
Men in
away
Black. They just
into
erase
the
his
abyss.
memory.
Yeah.
The containment team
crazy.
is at work in less than 6 hours, while a group of agents,
Wow.
dressed in scrubs, follow the ambulances to the hospital to ensure
Dressed
all
in
accounts
Adam?
of the ship's
They are
crash
no
have been
joke.
entirely erased. Another team sets to work, cordoning off the beach. A tourist
So
family.
the SCP made a big mistake. She left the ocean and she went into the fountain. So she's stuck in there right now. I don't know. I guess Alex said that she liked the money, so maybe it was that.
And that fountain's probably dirty too. It's an abandoned mansion. It hasn't been cleaned in forever.
Exactly, but you know the ocean's pretty dirty, so I guess that's just how she likes it.
Yeah.
Tourist family, excited about their day at the beach, argue with the disguised agents cordoning off the road. I'm sorry, ma'am, but there's nothing we can do. A shark sighting is a shark sighting. We just can't risk
Shark
it today.
sighting.
Meanwhile,
They're lying.
a steady stream
Yeah,
of
why would they
construction
need
vehicles
backhoes?
rumbles past, followed by a large Home Depot truck. They all pull
thought
up
Home
outside
Depot
the
trucks were
mansion,
orange.
where a team of agents has the fountain
All this for a
surrounded.
shark.
Tasers and cattle prods at the ready. They grip their weapons at even the slightest ripple of water.
No,
Excavators
don't
get to work
hurt
quickly,
her.
drilling at the ground around the fountain.
Alec, you don't even
cracking
know
through
her.
the paving stones.
Yeah, but it's
and before
mean.
anyone
She
nearby
feels like
has
he
any
does.
clue of what's happening.
Oh, there's
the fountain
pipes.
has
Maybe
been
she went down the
removed,
pipes.
Loaded into the back
Yeah,
of the
good call.
watertight fake
I
Home
don't know.
Depot truck
Thanks.
and has
I don't think
disappeared
they'd
over
mess
the
around like
horizon.
that.
The water nymph refuses to poke her head out of the water the whole way. The world around her
Okay,
is
she's in
dark
there.
and dry.
They got
She
her.
shakes and rumbles for hours. The beautiful fountain she'd climbed into just a few hours earlier now feels
Why would she
tiny.
do that?
There's barely enough water in here for her to swim in a circle. She'd always observed these strange-looking vehicles from a distance, lifting her eyes up above the waves for a few minutes to watch them crawling along the dark
is why you
roads
never
with
do
their
good
18
things.
wheels. She'd always wondered what was inside all of them, with their colorful
she did it on
paints and
purpose.
strange names. At least she now has some idea of what Home Depot does. Part of their business model evidently involves
She was curious at
kidnapping.
Home Depot.
To stop the panic rising up too high in her chest, the water nymph focuses on stilling the water in the fountain. All of the bumps and turns in the road, she focuses all her energy on holding all the water in place and keeping it level.
I think she has some power that we're not aware of that she's about to pull out right now. Something where she can bend the water in whatever way she wants.
Yeah, it's working on me, whatever her power is.
It could be, but do you guys think that the SCP Foundation did the right thing by capturing and kidnapping her?
Well, it depends.
I think so.
It depends what they do with her, you know? Maybe they give her everything she's ever wanted.
They just gotta find out if she's one of the dangerous ones or not. And then if she's a nice one, then she'll
Yeah,
she'll
if
get
they're
released.
mean to her, then I would say, no, you don't do that, you meanie pants.
How could you even hurt water?
You know? Yeah.
You could electrocute
I guess
it. You
burn it.
could pour it out on the ground.
Imagine
Put
if they
oil in
turn
there,
her,
light
what if,
it
what
on
if they turn her
fire?
into a gas,
Yeah.
and then you,
What?
If the water around her is still, maybe she won't feel so scared. It isn't really working. But at least
Oh,
her
she's
precious
scared.
little amount of fresh water isn't
Alex, she
spilling
needs
out
you now
all
more
over the
than ever.
watertight
She's calling
inside
to you,
of the
Alec.
container. She's just about convinced herself that
Save
she's
me,
used to
Alex,
her cage
save
when
me.
it suddenly
Sorry.
stops. The
Save
rumble
me.
sound cuts out, the
I need
shaking
fire to
stops,
my eyes.
and voices somewhere outside discuss what to do with her, saying words like containment protocol, initial testing,
Oh,
and
no.
security measures.
she's gonna get
The
tortured.
water nymph dips her head back below the surface of the water as the rear doors open. She's going to make the most of this. That's what she's decided. Having spent all her life underwater, observing the humans from afar, she'd always dreamed of one day meeting one.
This is
There had
almost
been
like Little
moments,
Mermaid.
Sure, times when she'd
Kinda,
wave
yeah.
at a child on the deck of a ferry or guide a ship through the fog, but up close, never. They look funny.
Whoa.
When you see them up close, they're such strange colors, so fleshy
Albert
and
Firestein.
hairy. It's bizarre not being able to see through them. How are they supposed to swim? These humans in particular are even more strange than the others.
That's weird.
Dre-
She seems so calm. I don't know why. Maybe just because she doesn't know.
Yeah, every other SCP that we've seen, pretty much, other than the Tickle Monster, has been like super crazy and like over the top, and they want to kill everything and everybody.
She's kind of just.
But she's just
curious right
super
now.
chill, yeah.
Yeah, that's a green light.
Dressed in long
Green
white
flag.
coats, always walking
Alec would
around
say.
with clipboards and strange little devices that light
wonder
up
how
and
old
make
she is.
sounds when they poke them. She
Probably-
wonders
she
if
could
they
be
get sick of
centuries
having their
old.
legs
Yeah,
stuck
centuries.
to the ground all the time. What if they see something interesting floating above them?
That's legal.
They can't just swim upwards. They need to get on one of those plane things. This will be fun, getting to meet real people for the first time. She keeps telling herself
Oh,
that
she's, like,
because if she
excited for
doesn't,
this.
it all becomes too scary. They haven't put her back in the sea, a river, or even a pool. They've just kept
we
her
got
in
a
the fountain.
POV
It
from
sits
her.
right
That
in
was
the
awesome.
middle of a brightly lit chamber. 4 white walls, a white
Dang,
ceiling,
that
and a white
stinks.
floor. 1 white door. The
Wow.
lights are always on. The temperature always
It's like
the
a
same.
Mr. Beast video.
For days and days, she just sits in her fountain, alone. Occasionally, one of the humans will come in wearing a big rubber suit. They look totally ridiculous.
Is that even
Taking big,
necessary?
slow steps,
She didn't do
they'll
anything
approach
to
her
them.
fountain.
I
Why
guess,
is he
yeah, they're
moving
just
like
playing
a
with
ballet?
Steps out
safe.
of the water to greet the human,
Yeah,
doing
look,
her
she
best
just
to
waved.
wave like she's seen them do to each other. But the human immediately turned around and ran back out of the chamber.
no, she waved
next
at me,
time,
what do I
she was
do?
slow and
That would,
gentle.
that would so
looked
be
at me.
Alec. That would be Alec. But he'd run away because he's scared to talk to
That
her.
would be new. I do get nervous. I do get nervous and scared.
I'd also
you
run, I'm
know?
not gonna lie.
They say hello, I say goodbye.
You don't
it's
even
about how
speak,
our
you just
conversations
sprint.
go.
I'm Alec!
So,
Gentle,
It's harder than it
raising
looks,
both her
guys.
hands innocently and letting the human approach without doing anything.
Hands
The
up.
human lowered some kind of glass container into the water in her fountain and took some of the water away. He must have been
no.
thirsty. She's seen the humans get like that sometimes. How they're not thirsty all the time, she has no clue.
Yo.
It doesn't look like there's a drop of water anywhere in them,
We're staring right into
except
her
for
eyes.
their eyes. She tries to catch the human's eye as he leaves, but he just walks straight out of her
That guy
chamber,
is terrible.
carrying
Why is
away
that
the
guy
little
so
container
sus?
of water. But this time,
He needs to find a new
she
job
has
if
an
he's
idea.
that scared.
She waits patiently for a few days, waiting for another one of the humans to come and see her.
I want to know what her powers
It's
are.
hard to tell how much time has passed because it's always sunny in here, but it must have been a few days by now. Sure enough, the door opens and a human in another big rubber costume comes in. She rises out of the water slowly so as not to scare them, and lets her form melt and shift. Feeling her body flow into a different shape,
Whoa.
she does her
Oh,
best
she's
to copy
changing.
the human's big rubber suit. She's practiced
Whoa.
this for years in the sea, copying
Hey,
the shapes
yo.
of different humans
Alec
she
doesn't
sees.
like that.
The human stops walking and stares at her. She tries to wave
That's
again.
one of her powers, Adam.
The human
Shapeshifter.
waves back.
That's
Success.
pretty cool.
For almost a minute, they stand there waving at each other. She knows this
minute
is longer
straight.
than most humans would wave at each other, but it's just so exciting she can't help herself. Maybe this will be her first friend.
I wonder if she has any
Imagine
family.
that, having a human friend. The human takes a hesitant
Doesn't
step
seem
towards
like it.
her. This is her chance.
Oh gosh,
Lifting
oh gosh,
herself
oh gosh,
up
oh
and out
gosh.
of the water,
He's gonna run.
the nymph steps out of her fountain for the first time. She
This can't be
pauses,
good.
careful not to spook the human. They do scare very easily, but this time, he stays. Better than that, he takes another step towards her, then
Whoa.
another, until they're within touching
Alec,
Something
how do you
bad's
feel
gonna
about
happen.
this?
She can
Something
feel
bad's
the
gonna
water
I think it's gonna be an
beneath her
accident,
chest,
though. I don't think she's
pumping
gonna do it on
excitedly
purpose.
He's gonna
through
Will
her
Smith
body.
her. He's gonna Will
She
Smith
seems
her.
so
Has
friendly.
another one of those glass containers in its hand.
No.
It raises the container up slowly for her to look at. She leans in to see why this strange little creature is showing her a piece of glass. She's seen these 1,000 times before in the seas. There's glass and plastic everywhere for her to
This
look
is
at.
not gonna be good.
What's so special about this?
Run!
The human takes a swipe at her. The glass container
No!
strikes the side of her head and extracts a chunk of water. She staggers away, hands raised in fear. What had she done wrong? Why did the human do that to her?
That's messed up.
She
That's
feels
so messed
faint.
up.
Her head swims
I
and not
told
in the
you she'd
usual
get Will
pleasant way.
Smithed.
Her body works hard to redistribute all the water around her body, rebuilding that part of herself
That
in a
wasn't
split
even that much
second.
water.
Oh,
It doesn't
no.
stop the pain or the sudden wave of tiredness.
She's got to
She
get back into
stumbles
the
back
water.
into the fountain and plunges beneath the surface, letting the water merge with her body again.
Okay, we learned a few things. One, she can feel pain, and one, she doesn't have an infinite supply of water when she leaves the source.
You said one, and then you said one again. That's two different
And
points.
also,
Adam.
one, she's super friendly and she doesn't want to hurt any of the human. At least yet. They might push her to hurt them.
But the
And
surface
one,
of the
she's super
fountain
cool.
isn't still. It trembles and shakes as she
You like her
lies
better
at the
with the
bottom
suit on or
in
without,
fear.
Alec?
Why had the human done that to
No
her?
comment.
By the time she has the courage to peek out of the water again, the human is gone. The lights in
Alec,
the
do you think
ceiling
you'd like
seem
her better
brighter than
if,
ever.
like, she shapeshifted into Adam?
No comment.
than ever. The next day is the first time she really misses the sea.
Could've
She would
just said
race
no.
from coast to coast, feeling herself getting dragged along in the ocean gyres as she flowed between continents. She would study the rainbow colors of the Great Barrier Reef
That'd be so
before catching a
boring.
current to Venice
Just be
or
stuck by
Jamaica.
yourself.
She'd hug the bottom of cruise ships and dance in and out of the propellers on the backs of cargo ships. But here, in her cell, all she can do is swim around her fountain, round and round in circles. That is, until the humans return. 3 of them come into her room,
No,
each
no.
carrying
They have
strange
zappers.
long objects.
They're definitely
She's
twins.
not sure she's seen those things before, and is desperate for a closer look. But after what happened with the glass the other day,
She's
it
gonna be
doesn't
defensive
seem like
now.
a good idea.
Why are they hurting her?
She still hasn't worked out what she did wrong there, but clearly the human was not happy with her for some reason.
I hope she freaks out and like does some damage. We need to see what power she has other than the shapeshifting. She's
But
got
then they're
some-
gonna
seems like-
kill her.
It seems like right now she could only get so big, right? Like, it would be so cool if she could just absorb all of the water and turn into like a giant Godzilla woman and then just stomp on them and kick them and shove them down her throat and eat them alive.
Maybe she can.
I
We don't know
hope so.
yet. We're gonna find out.
Best to be very gentle with them for the time being, until they're proper friends. The 3 humans have a box with them, full of water. She's so excited to see it, she leaps straight out of the fountain before realizing she needs to be careful. Patiently as
Careful,
she can,
please.
she approaches the box and
I can't believe
touches
I'm
it.
rooting for
The
SCP.
humans nod
over
encouragingly.
human.
Her excitement overwhelms her, and she dives right in.
No!
It feels so good to
Oh,
have
they
fresh
got her.
water to explore,
They got
even
her.
if it's just a small tank.
What are you doing?
She barely even notices as they close the lid on her and wheel her into a
She
different room.
is pretty dumb,
A
not gonna
glass
lie.
wall lines the edge of this new chamber. Funny little humans in white coats stand behind it, making notes. She climbs out of her little tank and waves at them. It's a smaller room than her normal one. Why have they brought her
I
in
knew
here?
Alec was about to way
A
back.
slamming noise behind her makes her jump, and she spins around to see the 3 humans have wheeled away her little tanks on wheels, leaving her alone.
How does she
in
have
her room.
water hair? That's
She
so
looks
interesting.
around with a little anxiety.
Wait, they took
There's
away her
nowhere
water
to swim in
source.
here. Have they made a mistake? She can't be
You
here
sure about
without
that?
water.
Yeah.
Doing her best to copy human
Oh.
movements, she tries to mime to the people behind the glass that she needs her water.
No.
They don't seem to understand her.
No.
Just start scribbling even more things on their clipboard.
She's so innocent.
It's warm in
Dude, these
here.
guys are
So
cool.
naive.
warm and dry. This isn't good.
Her body's getting so
No
skinny.
time at all. She
She's
can
losing
feel
all
it
Trying
just
to
drying out.
evaporate her.
An hour goes by, then another. She's never been out of the water for this
This
long.
is torture.
What are they doing? Don't they understand what
That's
she
messed
is?
up.
Her head starts to feel faint.
They're
She
turning a
slumps down
hero
on the
into a
floor
villain
and
before
turns
our
herself
eyes.
into a ball. Shaped like this, hopefully, she won't be evaporating so fast. Then they'll give her the water back. For hours she sits in a ball, waiting,
so messed up.
until mercifully, her little tank on wheels returns, and she's taken back to her fountain. They do the same to her the next day, and the day after that, starving her for hours, then returning her to her fountain.
What test could they possibly be running?
I don't know. I guess they're trying to see just how she reacts to different environments, different people.
You think maybe they're collecting the evaporated water and maybe that has healing properties? Or they're selling it online to like...
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's like Twitch mods and stuff like that. It could be.
Like,
It
where do
could
you think
be.
they'd sell that though? Like
talking about?
Etsy or something?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, your guess is as best as mine.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you could probably find that if you look hard enough.
Top up the water in it occasionally,
You're right.
but other than that, they don't
You're
seem
right.
to be
But if
doing
you do
anything
buy it,
nice
just
for
let
her
me
at
Did you
all.
buy it?
Are they doing this on purpose? Surely
You
not.
bought it.
She's their friend.
He
She's
bought it.
being
Gamer
kind,
bath
doing
water.
all of their
He
weird
bought
games even when she doesn't want to. Humans aren't cruel. They wouldn't do that to her. But then she
Yes,
finds
they
herself
will.
in a different situation entirely. They do the same as they've been doing for the previous few days, wheeling her into the testing chamber and making her stand there on her own. But it's colder today. Much colder.
Oh, they're going to freeze her.
She tries to explain to them through the glass, rubbing her shoulders and
way.
shivering. But they just keep making their notes. This isn't good. She can't stand the cold. It's not good
The
for
only thing
her.
worse than the cold is probably
Painful
heat.
crystals start forming on the surface of her skin, stabbing into
Oh my
her
gosh,
and
she's gonna
solidifying
freeze
her
solid.
body. She cries out noiselessly, but the humans keep going until she feels herself losing consciousness. Weeks go by, and with each experiment they do, the water nymph worries more and more that these humans aren't really her friends. They've
Oh, you
started
don't
giving
say.
her mazes, complex plastic structures that she gets forced unceremoniously into, where she has to swim through various pipes and tubes until she can push a
that's
button
pretty
on the
cool.
other side. At first, she was expecting a prize.
I mean, that's
Maybe this
messed up.
is why they had her kept here for so long. They needed help solving these puzzles, and their fleshy bodies couldn't fit through the tubes. But nothing happens when she presses the button.
No
They
prize?
just pull a plug and drain
That's
her out of the
so
bottom.
Cruel.
Today, she's had enough. When are they going to put her back in the ocean? She's just going to wait here at the start of the maze until they tell her. It's only fair. The water in her chest leaps for joy.
How is she still smiling after all of this?
She might be the nicest SCP other than the Tickle Monster.
Alec?
Alec, how would you save her?
I'd break in, James Bond, the name's Alec, and I'd go in and get her out of there.
Would you bring like maybe a bucket or something
Get
to
a
put her in?
bucket, put her in a bucket,
You should. No, I think you could probably just drink her.
maybe take a sip out of the bucket.
Take her home, put her in your bathtub.
And you.
Joy, as a human, enters the test chamber and approaches her. She raises out of the water and waves to greet him, just as he lifts the long, strange device in his hand
No!
and jabs it
What
into
is
her
up with
chest.
these people?
The
Give it
electricity
up!
shoots all
Why
through her
are they
body
horrible?
And sets her mind ablaze. It takes all her
Don't
strength
cry, Alec.
not to
Look
burst
away.
into 1,000 droplets. Convulsing and crying, she falls
She's about to
backwards into
unlock
the
some
maze.
crazy move, I'm
The
telling
human
you.
brandishes the weapon at her
I hope
again.
so.
She has nowhere to go but into the maze. She solves it in a split second, but as she presses the button, she feels a sinking feeling settling over her. What if they don't want to let her out? It's all
Time
her
for
fault.
revenge.
What was she thinking? Her one shot at making friends, and she'd blown it. She sits crying in her fountain, feeling her tears flow into the water around her and back into her
Why did
body.
she cry?
It was the
Just made of
acid.
water.
She hates acid, and always has. She'd swam near a factory
Aw.
once and got a dose of
Pollution.
it. It hurt, more than anything she'd ever felt before. It would flow into her chest and sit there, burning and burning. She can still feel it now. So when the humans in the rubber suits had poured some into her fountains, she'd lost her temper, slamming into them
Let's
with all her
go!
force. For months,
about
they'd been
time!
hitting her, jabbing her and exhausting her. But they're
Fight
her
back,
friends,
girl!
right? And you shouldn't hurt your friends. You definitely shouldn't kill your friends. Shouldn't rip open their rubber suits and force yourself down their throats, drowning
Hey,
them in their
yo!
own bodies. Her fountain's
I
red
told you
with
she's
blood
powerful.
and burns from the acid. And it's all her fault. What had she done wrong to make them treat her like this?
gosh.
Why couldn't they just be friends? After a few weeks, a group of humans come in and clean up the mess, refilling her fountain with clean water. She doesn't lift her head above the surface. They install a pipe above her fountain that drip feeds water onto her. Drip, drip, drip. And just like that, she's no longer seen as human. Drip, drip, drip. The lights burn white. The door stays closed. Drip, drip, drip. The water nymph sits in her.
Could remix that into a dope song.
Adam, this woman is going through absolutely the worst time ever, and you're thinking about remixing.
It reminded,
a drip?
it reminded me of the song from Enchanted. Sorry, Encanto.
I don't know what to say to
Like
that.
a drip, drip, drip.
Her fountain. Drip, drip, drip.
Come on, that would go hard.
After a year, she stops crying. A year
Someone
after
needs to
that,
remix that
she
song
gives
and
up
send it to
on
me.
thinking too.
Drip, drip, drip.
3 years
Empty
of
the clip,
near
clip,
silence
clip.
pass, with only the sound of dripping water from the pipe, until the door to her chamber opens.
As soon as it
Something
opens,
flutters
she's
in
gotta
her
go.
chest. She lifts her head out of the water.
Why can't she make a gun out of the
Check
water?
out the Dr. Bob Patreon and become a
No,
junior.
we don't know who it
We don't know
is.
what happens.
Nah,
bro.
no,
She's
they can't
trapped
leave us
there.
like that.
It
I
could have been
gotta
Alec.
know,
I gotta know, I gotta know.
It's Alec. It's Alec.
It has to be Alec. This is SCP-056, and it is one of the weirdest SCPs, but for a reason that you might not have expected.
Let's find out why.
The gleaming steel scissors glide effortlessly through the sheet of red material, slicing through as if nothing was there.
What are they
The blood
cutting?
red fabric parts
They're
to
making the
either
red
side.
carpet.
A
It's
pair
the
of hands
Emmys.
pick up one of the pieces and hold it up into the air. The man admires his handiwork before draping the cloth on a dress form and pinning it in place. Although there are many tables in the large room with sewing machines and mannequins next to them, they're all empty. The man works all alone in the big room.
Early predictions. I think this is going to be a Frankenstein situation where he's going to make this beautiful woman SCP creature.
Oh, so you think that this SCP is gonna be man-created?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
Interesting.
It's an early prediction.
I like that.
And it is
Good
impossible
prediction.
not to notice that he's an incredibly handsome man, too. So good looking that no matter your preferences, you can't help but stop and take notice of his perfect facial features, his slim, fit physique, his lithe, dexterous hands. He brushes a strand of dirty blonde hair away from his vibrant blue eyes and takes a pin out of his mouth before adjusting the fabric just a millimeter more before sticking it in place.
Alec?
I have another prediction. He is going to become the SCP.
Oh my gosh.
He's gonna put one of the dresses on and then, boom, it's gonna warp him into SCP and he's gonna turn crazy.
Okay, that one doesn't.
I have another prediction. I think this guy, like Alec is saying, maybe is the SCP, but I also think that this is one of the most dangerous SCPs. He's just giving me like a creepy vibe, and I have a feeling that he's probably going around killing people, and then maybe, I don't know, he's like a weirdo serial killer, and he's like making dresses for their dead bodies.
Make sure you guys are commenting down below what you think.
Really specific, Jack.
Jack.
Really, really
Jack,
specific.
you might need to see somebody.
The man steps away from the dress form and admires his work. There. Absolutely perfect. There's no doubt that this will be the closing look of the
It's a really
upcoming
slim
fashion
waist.
show. Another masterpiece. Just like him.
That's a little
But that
revealing.
doesn't mean that he's finished. There's still much to be done, and he goes back to work at his table, sewing bits of fabric together to create
never
embellishments
trust
for the
anybody that works
opulent
by
couture
themselves.
gown.
Especially in a
He's so
basement
focused
setting.
on his new design that he doesn't notice the fashion house's operating manager in the hall outside of the workroom. The manager points through the glass
so
window in the
creepy.
door and tells the two police
Oh,
officers
the
with
eggs
him
are already there.
that this is the man they're looking for.
Oh, Jack, I think
There's
you're
been a
right.
number of tragic and mysterious crimes involving
Oh!
people connected to this
How did
fashion
you
company.
know?
Jack, you're a
Oh,
Police have
genius.
finally
my
closed in on
God.
a suspect. Well, not the police exactly, but two SCP Foundation agents posing as police officers. The Foundation became suspicious after learning that there had been several missing persons, murders, and mental
What?
breakdowns, all of which involved people connected to this one company. And even more
Oh,
specifically,
this is getting
they were
weird.
all connected to one man.
It's
They
There
him.
fell
was
for
plenty
his
of
good
evidence
looks.
that something more than just regular criminal activity was happening here.
I did too.
Something strange was happening. Something anomalous. One of the police officers nods at his partner before gesturing for the manager to leave. It's always better not to have civilians present during a containment.
Oh my gosh.
The incredibly handsome man still hasn't noticed his guests in the hall, remaining
He's so
completely
handsome.
absorbed
This guy
in his
mentions
work.
it every other
And
time,
he doesn't even
how
look up
beautiful
when the
this
two
guy
agents
is.
burst into the room, both with guns drawn, not taking any chances. Freeze! Drop your weapon!
Guys, I have a weird feeling that somehow he's gonna talk his way out of this situation, or they're gonna think that he's so beautiful that it could never be him.
Is that his superpower? He puts everybody in a trance like Jigglypuff?
They all have some like magical, weird, otherworldly ability, and if this guy is the SCP, like Alex said, then he has to have some really cool ability.
He's definitely the SCP, bro.
I'm not gonna lie, he's got me in some sort of trance. I don't even know what's going on.
I can't stop watching this video.
I'm locked in.
One of the agents shouts. The beautiful man doesn't respond and just continues snipping away at fabric with his scissors. I said freeze! He commands again. And this time, the handsome man at least appears to have heard them, finally stopping his work. He slowly looks up with his piercing eyes to gaze at the men who have intruded
Light blue,
into
my
his
favorite
creative
color.
workspace. Drop your weapon now, the agent tells him. The man looks over at his hand, which still holds the large pair of scissors.
I think I'd
and
shoot him by
smiles.
now. I'm terrified.
He gently places the scissors down on the table, careful not to let them touch the expensive cloth that is rolled out before him. Now put your hands up. This time, there's no response, and the man grips the edge of the table,
he smiling?
It's
and
getting
stares
creepy.
into the eyes of the agents.
You know
First
something
one,
we don't.
then the other. Hands
But
up
he's
or
about
we'll
to
be
wink.
forced to shoot. The smile slowly leaves the handsome man's face.
Oh my god, that's so creepy.
Will you excuse me for one moment? He says,
What?
though with no hint in his voice that it's actually a request. The agents seem unsure of what to do. Both of them appear taken aback and confused by his nonchalant
Don't do it.
attitude.
Don't trust him.
The
Shoot
handsome
him.
man turns away from the agents and quickly steps behind a dressing screen that's been
There's
set
got to
up
be a
near his
secret
work
exit
table.
behind there.
As he walks
Oh my God, he's
behind
gonna
it,
turn
They
into
just
the
let
he
him
doesn't
beautiful
break
woman.
his stride at all. He simply passes behind the screen
gonna
for
turn into the
mere
beautiful
seconds
woman.
and steps out on the other side.
What?
Only once he steps out, it isn't him.
That is the
He's a
obvious
shapeshifter.
woman.
The man that emerges
Yeah, I
from
think
behind
you're
the
right,
screen
Alec.
is a completely different person. Where once he was slim, graceful, clean-shaven, and
It's
dressed
a
in a fine
What
suit,
the heck?
now he is heavy and muscled, like a professional football
My
player
mind is
with a
blown.
thick beard,
That's actually
dressed
him.
as if he's a member of a SWAT team. Before the agents can even react to the bizarre metamorphosis, the large man charges them and begins attacking.
Shoot!
He snaps
Shoot!
the neck of one and plunges the scissors he snatched off
Shoot!
the table
Shoot!
into the other's neck.
Oh, gosh!
More SCP
Oh, my
containment
gosh!
specialists, these ones dressed in tactical gear with
I think
no
they have
attempt made
backup.
to disguise themselves as everyday
you
police,
kidding me?
flood into the room and open fire.
Yeah.
But the man who looks like a
Please.
Navy SEAL picks up the fallen agent's guns and begins firing both at the same time.
There is no way he
He
wins a
outguns
1v5
and
like
outmaneuvers
that.
the agents,
This guy's
effortlessly
insane.
rolling behind cover while constantly firing,
Headshot,
taking out
headshot.
agent after agent. Screams fill the air,
God.
both
That's
from the dying
crazy.
SCP agents as well as the civilians who are struck through the walls by the onslaught, including the
no.
manager, who had snuck back to the door window to watch what he thought
I
would be
mean,
the snobby,
aw.
handsome man being taken into custody. The window behind the special ops soldier explodes, and two SCP
they got
agents
him.
They
propel
got him.
through,
Okay, good.
catch
good,
him by
good.
surprise, and
We don't
knocking him
even
to the
wait. I'm
ground.
not even sure if this is him.
Adam, come on, it has to be this
gotta
guy.
be him. What
What
do
are
you
you talking
mean?
about? There's nobody else in the room but them three.
You could have had somebody tied up back there, and then when he went back behind the scenes, he threw this guy out. Then there's a secret entrance. I mean, secret exit that he left.
So you think he hired this guy as like a bodyguard?
Yes, that could be
I
a
don't know,
1,000 IQ
Adam.
play. We don't
It's
know
a stretch.
how smart this guy is.
I honestly think that this man is the SCP and that all of the things that he has changed into are his victims. Like, this guy was one of his victims. So now he killed him, so now he can shapeshift into him. And he has all of his abilities. That is my prediction.
Wait, which one's Alec? I don't know who to look at.
I'm Alec. Hi.
I heard your voice, but you didn't wave.
Down. It takes even more agents rushing in to hold the man down
are
as he
confusing
struggles
me.
and screams like a wild animal, breaking one of their jaws for good measure before they're finally able to subdue him and
can't keep
confine
him
him with
contained.
heavy-duty straps.
Their
When all
only
is
job
said
is
and
to
done,
secure, contain, and
17
protect, and they
agents
can't do
10
two of them.
civilians have lost their lives. But the anomaly has finally been
Well,
contained.
they did it.
Once
We
it
don't
is
know if
taken
that's
to a
him.
secured
I'm telling you, we
location,
don't know.
It is
It
given
is.
a new designation.
It has to be.
SCP-056. But the
Oh,
site staff
okay,
soon
it's
give
him.
it a new nickname, calling it simply a beautiful person. SCP-056 is one of the most deceptive and one of the most dangerous anomalies known to the SCP Foundation. It is a being whose size, gender, and appearance can all vary in an instant, and which will change in response to its environment. The form it has most commonly taken while in containment resembles a man who appears to be in his mid-20s. His exact looks will vary slightly, but he will always be what could be described as incredibly handsome, at least by
he looks
traditional
just like
societal
me.
Do
standards.
you think that first character was his original form? Like what he was born with?
I don't think so.
Or do you think it's some sort of
No.
alien or something?
He was probably born super ugly, and he was really insecure, and so he did everything in his power to change his form to make himself look really beautiful.
If you could have this power, Alec, would you?
Sure.
But you could never change back to your original form.
Ooh, probably not then.
Okay. Yeah, you're too beautiful now. I don't know how you
I
get
wonder-
Thank you.
prettier.
I wonder what this SCP is going to do now that it's been captured, because it didn't even seem that worried about getting captured, but now that it is, I don't know, I have a feeling it's going to act really, really weird.
I have an idea. I think that he is going to turn into the most beautiful woman in the entire world, and he's going to subdue all of the guards and escape.
They
I
should
think
send
he
a
might.
blind person in there so that they can't even see what they look like, and then they won't even care.
They
Well-
can't see, but they can feel, they can touch.
They gotta tie him up, and then they can only talk. No touching, no looking.
Tie-up might be like one of that dude's kinks.
Standards. His clothes will change as well to be a style similar to those of other people around him, though they will always be of a higher quality and more aesthetically pleasing than anyone nearby is wearing. While that appears to be SCP-056's preferred form, it's far from its only one. In addition to the young man, it has also been observed taking on the appearance of several others, including a woman with a striking resemblance to Hollywood actress Scarlett Johansson, a form it took when walking past a group of a younger female staff. a male bodybuilder who could bench press over 250 kilograms, which was 30 kilograms more than the strongest security guard stationed at the Foundation
Rock
site.
Johnson.
That's
It took the form of a female doctor who
Little
was
Easter
measured
egg
as
there.
having an IQ score 30 points higher than any on-site researchers, as well as non-human forms, like a large, well-groomed Labrador
This guy
retriever
could
when he was
change his
exposed to
brain
another
chemistry to be
researcher's
smart.
dog. And
Wait, so Jack, you were right. Every time that he forms into another person, he gets all of their abilities. Like, he can just turn into a super strong person, and then he actually becomes super strong.
Exactly, yeah.
I think that's what happened when he turned into the Navy SEAL. Like, he gained his abilities to headshot.
He didn't have to kill them in order to gain their abilities. He just has to, like, think of them, and then he can transform into them.
Maybe a
It's
dream.
even more dangerous.
That's even more
and
powerful.
He
an
could transform
extremely
into
aesthetically
Alec, and then he
pleasing
probably would
couch
lose all of
when
his
left
memories.
alone in its own containment chamber.
What if he
These
transformed
changes
into
from one
God?
form to another occur whenever people
think he has
lose
to see
focus
them
on the
first to be able to
subject,
transform
something
into
that
them.
seems to happen when new people are exposed to SCP-056. And once they lose focus, it's
Heyo.
able to change in appearance virtually instantaneously. Attempts to film the transformation have resulted in the recording equipment exhibiting the same effect, seemingly losing focus. And being unable to
I'm
see
losing
exactly
focus.
what
It's
happens
working.
when
Oh, interesting.
The camera,
SCP-056
or me,
changes
lost
from one
focus.
form to another. Its clothing will
I'm
change
losing
along with
focus.
its bodily form, though so
That's a
far it
large
hasn't
man.
been observed manifesting weapons or other tools. Great efforts have been made to determine
He turned into a
SCP-056's original form,
The heck?
though so far, these have all been met with failure.
That's pretty
When
great.
placed within an empty concrete cell and placed under constant video surveillance, the cameras experienced the same loss of focus that others did, and then were met with a rather surprising figure left in the room.
I wonder if he can just transform into like something as small as an ant and just walk out.
It seems like he's only transforming into people right now.
What the heck was the photo of the couch?
I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Comment down below.
SCP-056 had taken the form of a video camera,
Oh?
Yes,
similar to the
okay!
one being used
You
to
were right,
record
Adam.
it, though a slightly more advanced and
Wait,
expensive
oh
model.
my god.
But-
Wait, that's actually so funny. So it turned into a better version of their cameras, just to show that it's better than them.
He just wants to be the best in the room, no matter what.
Exactly. It wants to make other people feel inadequate and like less good about themselves.
Attempts were made to discover its true form, this time without direct observation equipment, with researchers instead making use of passive scans that could detect changes to life forms. When they left SCP-056 alone and monitored it using these tools, what they found was nothing. There was no detectable body temperature,
It's all an
heartbeat,
illusion.
or even
What the
weight.
freak?
It
Maybe it's
appears
just a
that when not
spirit.
observed,
a ghost.
SCP-056 simply ceased to be.
You might be right.
Those who have personal contact with SCP-056 often report that the anomalous entity makes them feel substandard or jealous, as if they
That's-
can't measure up to it, yet at the same time will seem to seek its approval. This extends to SCP security staff, who will express a desire to follow its commands, while researchers will try to argue with it, something that usually results in them leaving its containment cell feeling as though they were outwitted by its intelligence. And
guy's just better than
SCP-056's expert communication abilities seem not to be limited by complex subjects or language barriers. Research has shown it to be fluent in at least 200 different dialects.
This might
and
be
it
the
has
scariest
exhibited an
SCP
expert
that
level
we've
of
seen
knowledge
yet.
in such varied topics as fashion,
dangerous.
automobiles,
Yeah,
theoretical
it's so
science,
smart,
sports,
and it's,
and a
like,
multitude of
almost
others,
realistic.
all of which it will usually show a greater knowledge of than the person it is conversing
I wonder
with.
if it could transform
And
into a
despite
nuke.
leaving the conversations feeling dejected about their own abilities, those who talk to it will almost always express a desire to speak with SCP-056 again.
Adam, if you were trapped in a room with this SCP, what would you guys talk about?
Just like our love for nature.
Alec?
I don't know. This SCP reminds me a lot about AI, because he can just, he's taking all the knowledge of everybody in the
Iverson?
world. No, artificial intelligence.
Oh!
He's taking the knowledge of everyone in the world like a hive mind, and then that's why he's smarter than everybody, because he knows what everyone else knows. So
I
he's
would
pretty much AI.
I'd probably just try to bully it and then see if like I could just make it think that it's uglier than me, even though it's not. Just like call it ugly and no, you're so stupid, you idiot, and then maybe it'll work. I don't know.
Your forehead's bigger than mine.
I swear. And then his forehead actually like grows a little bit, and then he's so proud of it. But actually, I reverse psychologied him, and he looks ugly now.
That's actually genius.
Jack.
You are so smart, Jack.
I
Maybe
wish I
am
had your
just
IQ, dude.
SCP.
You're a genius.
No way, you're too ugly.
Oh, yeah, true.
I would just eat
Can't
dirt.
resist being
me
made
just-
to feel inadequate by it. A number of tests
Dwayne
were
The
then
Rock Johnson
performed
in
to
my face
discover
cam.
just what form
I put it in my face, too.
SCP-056 would take when presented with various situations, and the results were rather interesting. In the first, a male Class D personnel was given a knife and told to try and attack SCP-056.
That's not gonna work.
056 quickly took the form of a young, fit man who was able to effortlessly disarm the attacking D-Class and kill
I would
him with the
transform
knife
into Jackie
instead.
Chan and just
In another test, a female
Karate.
D-Class entered its cell not with a weapon, but with a bottle of expensive wine. They were met with SCP-056 in the form of a young, beautiful woman who accepted the wine, but upon trying it, spit it out in the D-Class's face and sent them away. Next, researchers
rude.
sent 2 D-Classes in at the same time, one male and one female, with no specific orders at all. SCP-056 appeared as a beautiful woman in a well-tailored business suit, who proceeded to examine both the D-Classes, pointing out their each and every physical flaw before sending them 2 on their way.
That's so
Researchers
messed
then
up.
tried sending 10 Class D personnel into the cell,
What's Class
all of
D?
whom were male and who had expressed
So Class D personnel, for those of you guys that don't know, are like prisoners or like just bad people that the SCP collects, and then they're like the test dummies of the SCP
Oh wow,
world.
that's messed up. So they're just little guinea pigs.
Somebody has to do it, you know?
I guess. Are they people that murdered other people?
Yeah, they're
Like,
really bad,
bad?
people that
Okay.
like, you know, you would think deserve it, but sometimes maybe not.
for females. SCP-056 appeared as an especially beautiful female in a low-cut red dress. 056 didn't interact with the group in any way, but after 10 minutes, the D-Classes began to look uncomfortable. Soon, an all-out brawl broke out between the D-Classes as they violently assaulted each other, apparently for SCP-056's approval. 056 seemed to watch the melee with pleasure for several minutes before calling an end to it
It's
and
basically
sending
like
them
an
all out.
Instagram model.
A member of staff then volunteered to be tested
Alec,
with
you good?
SCP-056.
Release, Alec,
a level
release!
4 personnel who was regarded as being especially beautiful herself.
My new
She
favorite
entered
SCP.
SCP-056's cell, where the anomaly took the form of a similarly
This
beautiful,
SCP's awesome.
professional-looking woman, and the two proceeded to have a conversation, discussing various advanced personnel management techniques. The discussion seemed amiable, but after 90 minutes, the staff member appeared to become infuriated with SCP-056 and quickly left the room.
SCP-506
While no
is
cross-tests
too good.
with other SCPs have yet to be performed, when asked about other anomalies,
Tickle Monster. Tickle
Monster.
That's
SCP-056
the only
shows
counter.
a rare instance of vulnerability, expressing hatred towards them, and even occasionally,
Ew.
fear.
I'm gonna throw up.
SCP-056 has been relatively benign in its time in SCP containment, seemingly content to spend its time around Foundation staff. It's been allowed to have a cell of its own choosing, as well as pick its own furnishings, which have
Oh, I
tended
thought that
towards
was-
expensive and fashionable decor.
That was just different
Security
morphs.
staff assigned to guard it are equipped with high-powered tranquilizers, and any staff that exhibit mental irregularities after extended exposure to SCP-056
That's how I would react.
must undergo immediate psychological examination. It has frequently asked for access to the internet, and when asked why it desires that, SCP-056 responded that the Foundation was unable to provide it with enough sycophants, and that it wanted the whole world to know its face. Needless to say, its request for internet access was denied,
yeah.
and the anomaly, which has been
would have
classified
a
as
million
Euclid,
followers on
continues
Instagram.
to be securely cut off from the general public and remains in Foundation containment. Now go and watch another.
Wow. And that is the story of SCP-056.
That might be the most terrifying SCP of all time, or the best. I don't know yet. My mind is all over the place today.
I feel inadequate.
I'm stupid. I need to change my nose. It's too big. Did you guys ever notice this?
Take a
Did you guys
shower.
ever? I don't know. This is the first time I'm noticing my nose is huge.
Forehead. My red hair. My red hair.
Where's the knife? I'm cutting it off. I'm cutting it off. Today we'll be reacting to SCP-049, also known as the Plague Doctor.
Oh no!
The year is 1630, and the city of London is bustling with new life.
Oh, guys, wait,
streets
I
are
gotta get my
long
full of
ago.
SCP
people
shirt
going
on.
about their daily lives,
Quick!
cramming into housing and businesses, and struggling to accommodate the rapidly increasing
Hey,
population,
yo!
which has more than doubled
Hey,
in the
yo!
previous 50 years. Among the new citizens of London is a dark figure who keeps to himself. A man in
Ew, look
long
at him.
black
049.
robes and a beaked mask, dressed like the plague doctors of the Black Death centuries before. The figure that
Okay, wait, weren't plague doctors like supposed to be just doctors who helped a lot of people but looked really creepy?
Exactly, and they used to use really not the best practices. They used to like take blood from other people's, and they would like,
Ew.
like,
No, I'm
yeah,
good.
just put blood
No,
in
no,
you.
no,
Like,
I'm good,
it's just
I'm good.
weird
You don't
stuff.
have to
Yeah,
explain
they
to
were
that
not
today.
great doctors. No, Adam, it's way different nowadays.
That's just an orange shirt.
No, it's got SCP on it.
Oh.
Oh, you can't even see it.
D
I'll
class.
You
be
have to-
like this the whole time.
Yeah, watch the whole video like that.
the figure that will one day be known as SCP-049 has come to London
got a
town
big
to
nose.
embark on the next chapter of his
just a
life
mask.
in his
It's not
ongoing
real.
quest to solve the ills plaguing humanity.
Adam, are you secretly
Though
a plague
one might
doctor?
expect his appearance to make him stand out, most of the citizens surging through the city streets have far more important things on their minds than what the man in the mask might be up
terrifying.
to. So he has managed to carve out a little sanctuary, an empty warehouse where he rests and works. When curiosity gets the better of him, he slinks down alleyways, avoiding crowds and listening for any whispered secrets he can catch from the shadows. It is on one of these outings that he hears tell of Henry Percy, also known as the Wizard Earl, a mysterious researcher of science and the occult, held in Martin Tower in the Tower of London.
This guy's definitely going to use some sort of like wizard sorcery craft to do dirty, nasty experiments on humans.
This guy is basically like a stalker, but from the 1600s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like these types of doctors or these types of people have such a warped conception of the world and people. Like, they don't look at people as actual humans. They look at them as like subjects for what they can do tests on, you know? I doubt they have any empathy. They just look at them and suck
They
their
just see
blood and do
bags
weird
of
things.
meat.
Exactly. So weird.
Yeah, but I want to know what superpowers he has, because like SCPs all have something. They either have super strength, super knowledge, or they have like a supernatural thing that happens to them or they can do.
I think he's gonna accidentally create an SCP, Adam.
This guy, honestly, is a lot more powerful than you think.
Let's find out.
A man of wisdom and curiosity, pushing the boundaries of scientific study. That is just the sort of man that the Doctor has been hoping to meet and learn from here in this great city. The Plague Doctor swiftly abandons his sanctuary
he's
and makes
weird.
his way to the Tower of London, where he makes swift work of the guards that would bar him from entry. He does not enjoy harming
what?
innocents, but alas,
Did
some
he just kill them by looking at them?
I think so,
he's
yeah.
like Darth
Okay,
Vader.
Jack, you're right. He's way stronger than we thought.
Yes, dude, he has like telekinetic abilities.
He literally just made them pass out. I don't know if they're dead or not, but
He
damn.
turned their
Holy smokes.
brains
That was
into
insane.
mush.
Maybe he's just so scared that they passed out. Maybe it wasn't any superpower, you know?
Is that
Maybe they
long
just got
nose?
scared. Yeah.
Is that what you do? You flash your forehead?
You're the one that literally
I
has
would
the biggest
faint.
nose here. That nose.
sacrifices must be made in the pursuit of greater knowledge and understanding. Leaving a trail of bodies in his wake, the Plague Doctor makes his way into Martin Tower.
Excuse me, sir. I apologize for the intrusion, but as a fellow academic, I wondered if I might speak with
Wait,
you.
is that the plague doctor?
But as he enters the chamber,
Yes.
the Doctor finds that his polite introduction was wasted on an empty room. Wherever this Wizard Earl might be, he is
He
not
is
in
looking
his
for a wizard. He's
designated
gonna steal his
quarters.
powers.
Fearing the worst, the Doctor searches for signs of a struggle, for bloodstains on the floor or overturned furniture, but everything appears to be in its
Maybe
rightful
he's just going
place.
for a walk.
Where then
Yeah,
could Henry
what the
Percy
heck?
have gone?
Why would he have to be in his room 24/7?
Plague Doctor explores every inch of the tower, searching for any clues that might point him in the direction of the missing
being
man.
a doctor, this guy's
he
kinda
inspects
dumb.
every item on every surface, pulls every book from every shelf. But as he pulls one particular book from its spot,
Oh,
the shelf appears
shoot.
to pop
Okay,
open
I take it
on the
back.
wall
He's a
of the door
genius.
opening. Indeed,
I would've
it is
never
getting
thought of that.
crazy
revealing
now.
a dark, winding stairway just beyond its secret opening.
Ah, so this is where you have disappeared to.
Truly,
did
this
not
Earl
expect
must
it
be
to
He's
a
sound like
tough
French.
man,
That's a French
good
accent.
ally
That
to
might be you,
have in the
Alec.
battle against the pestilence.
I
He
wish that
follows
was
the
me.
stairs down,
That dude's
down, down into a small room in the bowels of the tower. It is a sparse,
Bowels?
barren room with only a stack of journals and a large iron door. The Doctor spends hours searching for a lock or other mechanism to open the door
Just use your
before
mind.
turning to the journals left behind by the tower's occupant.
Try
There,
open sesame.
he discovers the instructions for unlocking the iron gateway, directions he recognizes from his time studying alchemy.
This is some
Fortunately,
sort of
he
Illuminati
has all
stuff.
of the necessary materials tucked away in his trusty doctor's bag, and he is
Well, that's
able to
convenient.
effectively perform the esoteric procedure.
What?
As he dusts
What,
off his
dude?
gloved hands, content with a job well
This
done.
is like an anime.
He hears the click of a bolt unlatching.
What do you think is behind that door?
Dude, it has to be the wizard that he's looking for, right? Or like a bunch of like magical creatures that the wizard has been doing experiments
I
on.
agree.
It'd be too obvious if it was the wizard.
Think so?
It'd be way too obvious.
Maybe it's like a bunch of wizards. Maybe it's like a secret society of like the magic people, and then he wants to be invited to the cult, but then they don't want him because he's weird. That's
You're
what happened
getting
to
it
me.
all wrong. You're
That could be
getting it
right.
all
I
wrong.
think that's right, Jack.
The wizards are actually SCPs. So they're all SCPs and he is just the next one to get to the group, the cult of SCPs.
So you think SCP-049 is like a group of people? It's not just one thing.
Yes.
All right, let's find out.
The second secret door he has discovered today swings open to welcome him in. Ever the adventurous spirit, the Doctor picks up his bag and crosses the threshold into whatever awaits him.
Never walk
on
in a
the
dark
other
room by
side.
yourself. It's
As the
GG's
iron
over.
door shuts behind him,
That
the
worked out
Doctor
very poorly
gazes
for
up
me.
into a yellow sky dotted with an infinite number
Whoa.
of black stars.
Alec, you could
A
be
breeze
right.
blows the scent of dried flowers, mold, and the dusty pages of century-old books into his nostrils.
Okay.
He hears the sound of waves lapping at a shore and turns to take in the sight of a thick black sea washing up onto a stark white
That's
shore.
gotta be SCP-49.
The world around him is an array of black, white, yellow, and red. The yellow sky reflecting in the inky waves, the glittering black stars dancing above garish red buildings,
Wait,
white
what?
staircases, yellow doors, and black windows made
There's
from...
an entire city down there?
It seems like it. Yeah, he just walked into like some pocket dimension.
This is crazy.
I think it's just all in his head. I think there's the fumes coming out from that. It could just be a lot of gasoline, and he's getting a little head high.
Wait, I think it's like a portal. I think he went into like its own magic dimension.
from something
It
like
could be,
stained
it
glass.
could be.
This strange new place is not empty either. All around him, there are as many people bustling through the streets as there are back in London, though their
Wow.
attire
This has to be a
is
vision.
quite different.
This can't be real.
So it's Harry Potter.
Dressed in
pretty
a
much.
way that feels familiar,
Wait, Al
that
could be
reminds
right,
the
it's a
plague
secret
doctor
society.
of the ornate clothing he once saw at the Carnival of Venice. The people cover their faces too, Commedia dell'arte masks hiding their features and giving them a mysterious appearance.
gosh, this is
For the first
terrifying.
time since the days of the Black Plague, the doctor is keenly aware of the fact that he does not stand out in this place. In fact, he blends right in.
He found his own
Now
people.
to search for Henry
Wow.
Percy or anyone else who can offer the doctor some helpful insight. Uncertain of where exactly to start, the doctor decides to simply strike up a conversation with a stranger. A woman walks by in an elaborate red gown, her
Ooh,
feathery
good
white
choice.
mask almost resembling a swan. "Excuse me, madame," the doctor calls to her, stepping into her path.
No time to talk, I'm already quite late.
For
She
what?
brushes
Wait,
past him,
what?
and the doctor braces for the ill
She taking
effect of
pottery
physical
class?
contact between the two to take hold. However, she continues on her merry way, seemingly unaffected by his normally deadly touch.
All right, don't seem
He watches
desperate.
her go, stunned into silence for a moment.
Wait, so they just said that he tried to like do that spell they did on all the guards, but it didn't work on her?
Yeah, so anybody that he touches that's like a normal human or just like living thing will die. It'll get the Black Plague and it'll just pass away immediately.
But not other SCPs.
I guess.
No,
yeah.
I still think it's all in his head. I think that's why it's not working, but we'll find out.
So you think that he's crazy?
Like he's
I
under
think-
the wizard's spell.
I think he walked into a room and the wizard put a spell, yes. And he's in some sort of trance dimension spell. Everything's just in his mind. He's actually in some small room with some dude with cheesy curds and feet.
The citizens of this strange new place, it is safe for him to touch them. Something else catches his eye about the woman too. Up close, it seemed to him that her mask was not a costume piece, but in fact, a part of her face,
Wait,
much like
no.
his mask
Wow.
was a part of his own.
Oh,
Curious, he remarks aloud to himself. Henry Percy can wait. This is a far more compelling matter.
Something's not right.
I must uncover more about this land.
And so the plague doctor takes a long stroll through the unusual city, noticing as he
So that's his
goes
real
that the
nose.
geometry and gravity of this place
guess.
do not play by the rules he recognizes. Buildings slant at odd angles, alleyways and corridors appear and disappear, as the layout of the city seems to shift at random with each glance.
That's
The
'cause
people
it's a
themselves
vision,
are
it's not
just as
real.
bizarre as the place they occupy, behaving either uniquely rudely or entirely too familiar.
Are you guys hearing like
Pushing
a
past
deck
the
of cards
doctor with a
shuffle?
glare or tugging
that?
at his robes insistently,
No?
attempting to pull him down an alleyway or into a rapturous bout of sudden fevered dancing in a town square. He
think I'm
refuses
going
these advances
insane.
as politely as possible and carries on his way. An elegantly dressed couple gives him a friendly wave as they walk by him. Not an unusual occurrence. What is unusual is where they are waving from, looking down on him from an upside-down staircase that they traverse with no trouble.
Why
Some
did you-
other
tripping out.
gravity source holding them in this reversed position as they disappear into a dizzyingly constructed building. Fascinating.
He's so calm for like not knowing anything or anybody.
Yeah, so obviously he's an SCP, and it seems like he kind of knows that he's an SCP and has magic powers, but I don't think that he's ever come across other people that are also SCPs, and I think that everybody around him with like the masks stuck to their face are the creation of whoever the guy is that he's after, that he's looking for.
Well, that's a big
So the
replay.
guy that he's after for, you think maybe created him too?
Maybe?
Oh, he's looking for his father. This is like a
Could have been. This is the origin story, so maybe we'll figure out how
Oh.
they're connected. Because there's got to be some reason other than just that this guy is like a magical wizard. There's got to be something else going on here.
Yeah, we're following him, following the trail that's gonna make him realize the actual origin story of himself, because he doesn't even know the history of himself.
It's like when a kid gets adopted by another family and then one day they want to go find their real parents. That's what he's doing right now.
The doctor shakes his head in awe. Then it occurs to him. He should be taking notes on all of this. He opens his bag and digs around for his leather-bound notebook, but can't seem
It's
to
the
find it.
weirdest
He
collection of
stops on the
items in his
street and
bag.
begins dumping out the contents of his pack onto the stone walkway. Jars of specimens, salves, syringes, and surgical tools all tumble
Oh,
out,
it's like my gym
but
bag.
no notebook. It must have fallen out of his bag somewhere on his journey. Or worse, it could have been stolen by one of these flamboyantly dressed strangers.
Is that the Death
No,
Note?
no, he
Whatever name
mustn't
writes
allow his
down?
mind to jump to the worst possible explanation. Most likely, he simply dropped it somewhere, and he only needs to retrace his steps to find it. He begins to walk back
That's
the
gonna
way
be
he came,
impossible to do.
as best he can find it in city streets that seem to warp and change
Ew,
with
that's
every moment
creepy.
like the landscape of a
I
dream.
don't think he's gonna
No.
find it.
The landscape warps and changes. He's never gonna be able to find it.
There's no
I
way he's
don't
gonna find
like
it.
that!
Everybody with the mask is so creepy.
Approaches dozens of people, but each stranger he speaks to brushes him aside, rushing off to their far more important
Where are they all
business.
going?
They seem to look at him with disdain,
That's you,
like
Alec.
something foul stuck to the bottom of their fine shoes. It is discouraging, and it seems as if the notebook may very well be lost forever. But then, hope. Amidst a sea of people hurrying to their next destination, the doctor spots a man in a red cloak standing notably
It's gotta be
still,
the wizard.
leaning against a nearby wall. The figure looks up at him, eyes shining behind a red mask in the shape of a happy, smiling face, reminiscent of the figure of Il Capitano from Commedia dell'arte performances the doctor dimly recalls.
What?
He sheepishly
Okay.
approaches the grand figure in the cloak and red mask,
weird connection.
explaining that he is an outsider to this place. When the red masked man speaks, he speaks in a warm
Never
voice,
trust a
but with
guy
a
in red.
distinct air of authority.
Welcome to Alagada, sir, for that is the name of this kingdom. You are fortunate, very fortunate indeed, for I am the Red Lord of Alagada, wearer of the mirthful mask, a chief advisor to the king.
Being a man with medieval origins, the plague doctor bows deferentially the second he hears that he's in the presence of a lord. With his knees on the ancient
not
cobblestones
expecting him to bow
below,
down.
he begs the Red Lord for assistance in finding his precious notebook, the bearer of all his research and valuable
Alright.
scientific secret.
So we found out the plague doctor is kind of humble. I can respect that.
It seems like, yeah, the Plague Doctor, for being such like a powerful, evil SCP, kind of seems pretty respectful.
I thought he was gonna try and kill him or something.
Right.
The Red Lord pushes himself away from the wall, standing at an impressive height, seemingly suddenly far larger than he had at first glance. His face seems to strike a
jacked.
sympathetic tone, as sympathetic as one can be while wearing a mask. With a grandiose hand gesture and a dramatic stride, he asks the doctor to follow him and begins strutting off down the alleyway. The doctor has come across a person with good manners in this confounding place. He follows close behind the
these
Red
people are
Lord as the two
disgusting.
traverse the unstable landscape, following a yellow cobblestone street to a winding black staircase that curls around and around in a seemingly eternal spiral before tilting dizzyingly on its side. The doctor hesitates, afraid he will lose his footing, but much to his surprise, the laws of gravity seem to shift along with the angle of the stairs.
All right,
I would
they are in
freak out.
They are in Doctor Strangeland in the Glass universe. Nothing
It
makes
seems
sense.
like it. So the spot that they're in is called Alagada. That has to be its own SCP, right? Like they're in some sort of dimension that is an SCP, kind of like the Red Bull SCP that like makes other SCPs come out of it.
He's an
This
SCP
is kind of similar.
in an SCP.
Exactly.
In an SCP, going to meet an SCP.
But then, yeah, the SCPs there are their own versions of that same SCP, and then he's a different SCP inside of this SCP universe. So it's like SCP-ception.
I have to poop.
It feels as if he is still walking along the same even plane as before, though he can see the sights below now jutting out of view at a disconcerting right angle that makes his vision swim and his stomach turn. So he turns his gaze onto his companion's back, matching the Lord's every confident step. He wonders idly where the man is taking him, but decides to hold off on additional questions until
wonder
they
if
have
it's a
reached their
trap.
destination. The Red Lord comes
Can't
to a
be
stop
good.
at the top of a tall, thin tower. He stands before an unusually shiny black door that curls down at the edges, like the entryway itself is frowning. He sweeps his arm in the direction of the door and beckons the Plague Doctor to follow him inside. Before the Plague Doctor can even mention that the door has no handle or knocker, it simply opens of its own accord, as if by magic. He shakes his head. The
I
Red
would be
Lord has
freaking
already
out,
vanished
too.
inside, and he quickly follows him.
What quickly?
The color
Think about
palette
it
of
for a second.
Alagada is already quite limited, but this room is stripped of the scant bits of bright pigment found outside.
That's a whole
Not a
nother
scrap
dimension
of
within a
red
dimension
or
within a
yellow can
dimension.
be seen here, save for the suddenly garish garb of the Red Lord himself. The chamber is decorated in black and white, shimmering black velvet and cold, cruel white marble or something like.
Do you think the king is going to be the wizard guy that he was out to look for in the very beginning?
I think it has to be, right? And also, too, like the Plague Doctor, just like all other doctors, is a doctor at the end of the day. Even though he has these bad powers, he probably has some good powers too. So maybe he can help whatever's happening here. Because it seems like something's wrong with these people.
I don't know. I think some doctors are just evil.
All the people are in a rush to get somewhere. Maybe we're gonna find out where that somewhere is.
They're going to sacrifice their bodies for the plague. They are the plague. The plague is an SCP.
Marble, as this material has an eerie, icy sheen that almost hurts to look at. In a large black chair
There
that
he
again
is.
curls down at the edges in a melancholy fashion,
can't be the wizard.
there sits another masked man.
Maybe the wizard's
He is
trapped in
clad
here.
in black robes, and his
He looks
pale
sad.
white
Looks
face
infected.
bears the face of tragedy, open mouth curved into a permanent
does
frown
look
of
sad.
anguish. The Red Lord gestures to the figure in the chair, who does not speak, and introduces him as the mighty Black Lord of Alagada. The Plague Doctor can see the Black Lord's eyes following him from within the holes of the mask.
That's creepy.
A mask that members of the SCP Foundation would later refer to as SCP-095.
Oh, okay.
Wait, I
secret
called
SCP.
that.
You did call the secret
I
society
said
of
that. Let's
SCPs.
go.
You did say that they were all going to be SCP-49.
No, I said the wizard is going to be an SCP.
Okay, all right. I trust you. I
So
trust
if
you,
that's
I
the
trust
wizard, I nailed it right on the head.
That might
I
not
hit
be the
this
wizard,
guy
though. We
on
don't
the
know.
head.
This guy is the king of whatever world they're in, the Alagada Kingdom.
you. SCP-35. Keep that in mind. We don't know
Okay,
how
and
powerful he
it's
is.
just the mask. That's it.
Oh, the mask. So whoever wears the mask has the power. Power's in
think
the
so.
mask, not the person.
Ooh, so the wizard's probably wearing the mask.
Oh my
He
gosh.
could be.
The Doctor asks whether the Black Lord can help him find his book, puzzled at this whole situation. The Red Lord throws his head back and begins to laugh, a warm and genuine sound that nonetheless sends a shiver down the Doctor's spine. The Red Lord claps a hand on the Doctor's shoulder,
Hey, yo.
giving it a squeeze that feels encouraging and threatening all at once, explaining
Oh my gosh, I just thought of something that would be crazy if this happens. What if the guy that's wearing the mask needs a new mask because it's like cracking and like crying? So he's gonna take the Plague Doctor's mask.
But the Plague Doctor's mask is a part of his face. You can't
I
take
know.
it
We're
away.
going to kill him.
And we're gonna see what he really looks like behind the mask.
Well, I think he just dies, and then
dies.
the new guy just
Oh,
sticks the other
Plague-
guy's
the Plague
face on his
Doctor's
face.
immortal.
Of 49.
Plague Doctor can't die.
How do you know? You just made that
Because he's a
up.
Plague Doctor, bro. He's been living forever.
Yeah, but maybe the SCP-35 is stronger than SCP-049.
And it steals his
so
face.
he's able to steal his power and his face.
Because this whole video, they've been referencing how the mask, everyone's wearing a mask. And so the mask obviously is super important. So I don't know, maybe they're going to
Yep.
steal the Plague Doctor's
As
mask
Future
because of
once
how
said.
powerful it is.
As Future once said, mask off, mask off.
explaining that he'd been brought here under false pretenses. The Lords already had the book. The Black Lord just needs a favor before he can have it back.
I need your face.
for accepting my invitation.
The Black Lord speaks, his voice
Oh my
hissing
gosh.
out
Maybe
from
Maybe
a
he's
scowling
insecure
mouth.
whatever's
Genius.
happening to him.
The Plague
not
Doctor
talking about your
protests, demanding his book, furious at the deception.
Oh, you'll get them back.
The Red Lord laughs again.
The Black Lord will return them if you prove yourself worthy of their ownership. I bid you farewell, Doctor. May your stay in Alagada be pleasant.
The Red Lord
Ooh,
sweeps
there
out
was
of
a
the
weird
room,
pause.
leaving the Doctor alone
how I feel
with
when
the
I'm in the
Black
dentist
Lord. Silence
office.
hangs heavy between the two. Before the Doctor asks the Black Lord why he'd even want a physician from another world to attend to him, the Black Lord wheezes and spits up black slime that corrodes the
he's
ground
sick.
beneath him.
He
Oh,
always
so
The
they
doctor
do want
shakes
him
his
to
head.
cure him.
I
is
am
going to
no
Alex
miracle
Theory.
worker, only a simple doctor. I struggle to treat the ailments of my own world. I do not wish to disappoint you, but I have failed again and again to cure the pestilence that plagues my home. I do not know if I would have the capacity to cure you.
The Black Lord's frown seems to deepen.
I am very sorry to hear that. Perhaps I should keep your notes for myself then, and give them to an Alagadan physician for research.
The Doctor's composure breaks. He stomps about the chamber,
Oh my gosh.
flinging open every door he can find,
Oh my gosh.
searching desperately for the work he'd spent his
We're gonna get a
extremely
fight.
long life painstakingly compiling.
Who
The
wins?
work that represented his sole efforts in the medical field. He stops at a padlocked door on the far
It
side
has
of the
to be in
room,
there.
grabbing hold of its lock.
I
The
got my
Black
money on
Lord suddenly
SCP-35.
cries
He
for
looks
him to
way more
stop,
powerful.
but it is too late.
No,
the
but
Plague
he's sick,
Doctor has
Adam.
wrenched
He's
the lock
infected.
free from the door. As soon as the Doctor
Whoa.
lets the lock clatter to the ground, there is a horrid skittering sound,
Oh
like
gosh,
the
what's
legs
in
of a
there?
massive metal spider crawling along a wall. Click.
That's gotta
click,
be a brand new
click.
SCP.
And
How many
then, all at
SCPs are in
once,
this?
the
This is
formerly
insane.
padlocked door is thrown open with such force
Don't open
it
that
nearly
door.
rips from its hinges. A creature crawls through the opening. A monster with the
That's
body
a brand new
of
SCP. It's
a
gotta be.
spider. A smooth white humanoid torso, two long clawed arms, and a
I
round
just got the
featureless
chills.
orb of a face. It lashes
That
out
is
blindly,
disgusting.
raking its
What
claws
is
at the
going
Black
on?
Lord,
It's
who sits
killing
on
the
his
Black
chair.
Lord?
Then, before the Plague Doctor
What?
can even try to apprehend it, the monster rips through the main door of the chamber, climbing out and over the edge of the tower and down to
Dude,
the city
what did
below.
he just release?
Wait, it's gonna go
Black
into the
Lord
real
shouts
world.
for the Plague Doctor to help him.
What about the monster? What will become of it?
The Plague Doctor's mind races, trying to wrap around what he just witnessed.
Oh my gosh.
But the Black Lord has no interest in the monster.
That might be
the
the
city guards will
Leviathan.
take care of that. He needs help with his own injuries.
Why would this
The
dude
Lord
keep
groans
such a
in pain,
crazy
a
monster
thick
right
black
next to him?
substance leaking from his wounds and spreading across the once pristine white
No.
floor. The Black
I was
Lord
wrong.
implores the
SCP-35
Plague
is about
Doctor
to
to
die.
treat him. The plague doctor remembers his duty to all that suffer from illness and injury, an oath he once took a long, long time ago.
The hippocampus
and he opens his
oath.
doctor's bag, ready to get to work. He has no grasp of Alagadan physiology,
way any of those tools will
idea
work.
where to begin in terms of performing any procedure on the Black Lord,
This isn't
but he
even a real
cannot
human.
stand idly by and watch this man suffer. He begins pulling instruments from his bag, vials of phosphorescent elixirs and foul-smelling tinctures, and begins to improvise.
This
He
is like
cleans
trying
the
to
wound
treat a
with gauze
watermelon.
dipped in one of his many tinctures, then begins treating them. The Black Lord's shallow breathing slows to deeper, calmer breaths as the medicine begins to do its job, and these positive results spur the doctor to work faster.
So it
He
is kind
seals
of
up
working.
each of the wounds, then slathers them all in a glowing
How did he
green
know how to
salve
do
to prevent
this?
infection, if infection
He's
even
got that whole
exists in
gamma
this
goo.
world. When the work is finished, the Black Lord sits up, seemingly to be completely recovered,
My guy's
except for the
chilling.
visible stitches and the tearing
gosh.
of his robes.
That Hulk
Thank
extract
you,
worked.
Doctor. I stole from you.
That actually worked.
And yet, you helped me anyway. Allow me to return this to you, along with my sincerest gratitude.
That's all it
He
took.
reaches into the depths of his robes
Oh,
and
it was his
produces the
pocket.
doctor's leather-bound notebook.
Of course, it was in his
Take
pocket.
it.
The doctor snatches the notebook from the Black Lord's grip and returns it to its rightful place inside of his bag.
Villain,
He mutters to himself as he does.
our ways may seem strange to you,
The Black Lord says.
but these are troubled times in Alagada. All is not well in the court of the Hanged King. There is deception and betrayal everywhere.
Gosh.
Okay.
All kingdoms encounter periods of strife.
The plague doctor remarks.
If you will excuse me, now that I have treated you, I will be on my way back to my own land.
They're not going to let
I
him
do
go.
not wish to stay here any longer.
That's a good take, Jack. He's
Of
going to get
course.
trapped.
The Black Lord waves him toward the door. As the doctor prepares to leave, however, the Black Lord
do it.
speaks again.
Are you quite sure that is your land, Doctor? You look quite like the child of a woman I once knew
What?
long ago, who made the mistake of defying the king. She had the face of a crow, as you do. A mask that was not
That's
a
his mom?
mask. Excuse me?
No,
The plague
no,
doctor
no,
does
no,
not
no,
understand.
no. Wait, do you think they're born with those masks? Or it's
Well,
given to
yeah,
them?
because they've
Yes,
had
Adam, it is them.
They've had it forever.
That is their face.
Yeah, that's their face. They can't take it off.
So that might be his dad.
Bro, it could be.
Maybe that's his dad, and you know that was his
Hold
mommy.
up, bro. Let him cook.
Were you born in your world? Were you a child there? Do you remember it that way?
The Black Lord asks. The doctor thinks for a long moment. He cannot recall ever being anything other than what he
That's
is
so
now,
weird seeing
a
him as a
doctor
baby.
with a singular purpose.
I would hold that thing
I
underwater, though. It's
Do not
disgusting.
know? Perhaps, dear Doctor, this is not your first time in the land of Alagada. And I imagine, with time, you shall walk its twisted
wizard is his
alleys
father.
once again. Consider that on your journey back to the place you call home.
The Black Lord laughs, a low, hollow sound.
Farewell.
What?
Eager to be rid of this place
Are you
with its
kidding me?
lies, tricks, and monsters of many shapes, the Plague Doctor takes his leave. This journey he hoped would provide some answers, but instead, all he found were more questions than he ever could have anticipated.
This is
Check
just...
out.
And that's it, bro. That's literally it. That was such a cliffhanger.
That's just the beginning. We still don't know so much.
Who's his mom? Who's his dad? Why is he the plague doctor? Why is Alex's mom not returning my text? Why is Alex's mom not returning my calls?
Well, she can't answer your calls when she's on the line with me.
Okay, if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like on it and click right here to watch some more awesome SCP content.
Alex's mom?